Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, probably you can see.
You
Yes, we
can
can
see?
see your screen.
Okay, good. So we don't have so much time to waste. I'm very sure that I'm very sure that for this diet, all my students knows the right thing to be done by this time. I'm very, very sure of that. I'm very sure of that. So we know what to be done. We know what we should do. And so this is pretty soon, right? And the what we really need is not so much. It's not something that is very serious. Yes. So what we need to know is that we need to understand the purpose for the present material. Okay. So I will quickly read this so that we can be on the same page. So let me read. Present. The material is issued prior to the examination date to enable you familiarize yourself with the case scenario. To enable you familiarize yourself with the case scenario so that you can undertake any research. Familiarize yourself with the case scenario. You can also undertake any research. You can do research before that day, know more about the maybe the complaint, the particular complaint in the case scenario, and analysis that you may deem fit. Analysis that you may deem fit. These are the key reasons for giving you the material. This receiving part of the case study examination is also published. Yes, we know. Now, look at it. Listen. You must not bring this material with you to the examination, or whatever you must have done with this material, don't bring it to the examination hall. So upon receipt of this material, you are required to spend the next few days to the examination date to familiarize yourself with the information provided. Yes. So just like they said earlier, they want you to get familiarized with the information provided so that now one major reason for giving you person is the institute believe that the 4 hours may not be enough for you to read the case material. Okay? To read the case material as well as perform the analysis that is required of you. So they believe the 4 hours may not be enough. So they want to give you, some parts of the case story prior to the exam date so that you can have a fair idea of the case story. Now, one important implication is that it will save you some reading time. Remember that the reading time for this exam is about 1 hour. Reading time is about 1 hour. Then you have the other hours you had 1 hour to do computation, then 2 hours to write report. Right. So it would have saved you some hours, some minutes out of that 1 hour reading time. Then you can have extra minutes to push on your
All
So
right, Pali.
to familiarize yourself with the information provided, carry out any additional research and or analysis about the industry together with relevant developments, and analyze the financial results provided in preparation for the exam. So you do research, you do whatever research, maybe, some other over the years, sometimes they do give us complaints that we can Google and find them, So on your own, you can do more research on that, right? Because the exam is for you. This exam is for you, and for you only. The next diet cannot have this particular exam, right? So then do any analyze the financial result provided in preparation for the exam. Though we'll talk about the financial statement and all that. But I want to implore you that, again, this is your own exam. It's not my exam, right? It's not my exam. I can only tell you, I can only guide you to the extent of the information I have with me, and maybe with my own experience and all that. So I can only guide you based on that. Okay. But what I'm saying is that the best knowledge you can pick will be from what you are able to discover yourself as a person, right? As a person, what you are able to discover yourself as a person will be a deciding factor if you are going to pass the exam. Okay. So whatever I give you, whatever explanation I make, whatever thing I tell you, I believe that whatever you are able to discover on your own should be superior to it. I mean, that is the way I've trained you for this exam. Okay. So you should know that the use of present part of the case study will not significantly help you in answering all the questions during the exam. Now, the reason why they are saying this is that in a way, they eat the important part of the exam from us now, right? Like the what do you call it? The requirement is hidden, and the direction the requirement 2 will go. So requirement 1, we can quickly, in a way, we can guess it. The requirement 1, we can guess it. It will likely be financial statement analysis. But the direction the requirement 2 will be going is hidden. So that is why they said that, see, what we have now will not significantly help us in answering all the requirements during the examination. Even for the financial statement analysis, we don't know which area they will ask. We don't know how they will come about it, right? So, but we can have a fair understanding of what to come in the future in the exam by working with this. So let me quickly stop there so that we can start what we want to start. So for the purpose of the precinct, we are given 6 exhibits, and our company is Travex Hotels Limited. We are given 6 exhibits. And I know you recall how we do this. How we normally do this, just like what we did in the class. It's not going to be different. It is not going to be different. So for us to be able to participate very well, so I will encourage someone from the participants to read. So we want to look at this present exhibit by exhibit. We want to trash each of the exhibits. And the way we did it in the class, was we read exhibit 1 and we give the class some minutes to make contribution. People will make contribution. Just tell us what your understanding of the particular exhibit that we have just read. You tell us. So while someone is reading, I told you should print the you should print the presim so that where you are sitting now, you have it on your table. Then you can start jotting when people are making comments. Anywhere they are making comments, you go there, you jot, you know. So all these jottings, all these contributions from different people, different students, and from myself should give you a robust understanding of each of these exhibits in this present. Now, just like I've said, the implication is that you cannot spend so much time on this present part again in the exam. That of course that is not possible because you would have understood virtually everything about the present. So how are we going to do it? We look at the exhibit. Each exhibit, someone will read from the audience. Then I'll give the class some time to make comments. Then I can also add my own comments. So we'll do that for exhibit 1 to 6. So after that, uh, then we can look at maybe some trends. I can share my screen on trends, or maybe what do you call it, on common size analysis and ratios. And for ratios, I would like us to, I will show you my ratio, but I would like you to depend more on whatever ratio you are able to compute yourself, because I'm aware that ratios, we have several formulas for even one ratio. You could use any formula. Maybe you could have 1 or 2 or 3 formulas for a ratio. So I don't really like to discuss ratios, but I will show you my ratio. I will later share my ratio and my incomplete report with you. I will share with you. And I've also made a kind of unseen, but we are not going to discuss the unseen on the platform. It will be for you to, to play with after this class. You can play with it. You can do a report on it. That is a predicted unseen, that because it's not, I believe that it's not, this is what we can see. This is what we are sure of that we come. So we cannot be discussing unseen that we are not sure of, that it will be the real thing in the exam. Okay, so this is how we are going to go about this class. So I think we can start the reading now. So someone should read for us. So let's start with exhibit 1. Someone should read exhibit 1 for us. Who is reading? Let's start with exhibit 1. Who is reading the exhibit 1? Someone should volunteer quickly and read the exhibit 1 for us. I hope I'm not speaking to myself.
We can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear,
So yeah, read for
you.
us. All right. Someone should read for us. Let's go. We
Exhibit
don't have so
1.
much time.
About you,
Okay.
Dankabi, and your employer, Techno Consulting Services. You are Dankabi, writing the professional level of ICAN examination. You are employed as a training consultant by Techno Consulting Services, and you report to Michael Tukuma, partner in charge of the hospitality group within the firm. Your responsibilities include 1. Preparing detailed financial analysis and reports on the performance of the firm's hospitality client. 2. Analyzing your client's financial statement to identify areas of weakness and providing solutions to management. 3. Assessing your client's operational and strategic business proposals with the view of evaluating their alignment with a client's objectives and the extent to which relevant business and financial risk has been considered. 4. Assessing your client's financial and business forecast together with the assumptions upon which they are based to suggest recommendations to the clients, and drafting a report for the partner based on the operational and strategic business analysis you have carried out. These responsibilities demand you to keep yourself abreast with development in the hospitality industry, both nationally and internationally, so that you can to be able to carry out the above task effectively. Techno Consulting Service is a highly reputable consulting firm employing over 1,000 employees and specializing in high growth industries, including hospitality industry. That's all. Thank you.
Pali, thank you for reading. God bless you.
Pali.
Right. So that is the exhibit one. So one thing you will notice is that this exhibit one is not is not different from it's not different from the exhibit one we have been getting. We have been getting since November 2019. It's not different at all. So it is very open. It's not different. It's very open. So let me give the class some minutes for people to make contribution. So who is going first? Who is going first? Pali, don't tell me you want me to do all these things by myself. Oh yeah, who is going first? Oh yeah.
I think exhibit one is just about me.
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay, someone is talking. Oh yeah, let him continue.
Okay, I said the exhibit one.
You can raise up your hand so that I can call you. All right, let's go. Continue, please.
Okay.
Yes, go on.
Exhibit one is all about me writing the exam and my levels and the assignment that was given to me by my partner, by my my boss, to carry out some financial analysis and in hospitality, just about me and what I need to do, the assignment I need to carry out, and what my expectations should be. So I think that what exhibit one is talking about.
Okay. Any other contribution? Thank you. Any other contribution? Who is going next?
Can I say something?
Yes, go on.
Okay. My
We are listening. Hello. Hello, we are listening to you. Hello? Hello?
I'm speaking. Can you hear me?
Yes. I lost you for over a minute now.
Okay. What I can make of that exhibit one is that my identity has been changed to Dan Kabir.
Okay.
And I have a superior officer that I report to, which is the Igbo name I've forgotten, and the list of what I'm supposed to I'm supposed to do. So all those things are what I should equip myself with to carry out what I'll be given to carry out. Okay. So as a student now, I just have to keep myself, equip myself so I can be able to do all those duties that are listed.
Any other contribution?
Okay, Pali, I want to say something.
All right. Oh yeah, go on.
Okay, the exhibit 1 is talking about myself being the employee, and then the responsibilities that has been given to me by my boss, have a report concerning best hotel. So
Okay.
I need to acquaint myself with the responsibilities since I'm writing an external report.
Okay, good. So you have just said that this looks more like an external report, right?
Yes, based on the last bullet,
Mm.
drafting a
Okay.
report to my partner based on following things, the operational and strategic.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. If there is no other comment because of our time, let me add to what others have said. Right. So, like I said, this is not different from all the other exhibit 1 we have been getting since November 2019. So you have been assigned an identity, Dan Kabir, and you are working, or you are employed as a training consultant by consulting services, techno consulting services. That is more like an audit firm. So let's assume it's an audit firm. So you have been employed by an audit firm, right? As a training consultant, okay? And you are also assigned to a partner, Michael Shukuma is a partner of the consulting firm, right? So this means that that fourth sentence means that the firm will eventually have a client, okay? From experience, from what we have been getting over the years, the client, techno consulting services will eventually have a client, right? That will be pushed to Michael Shukuma, right? Who is a partner of that firm. So that client will be pushed to him. And Michael Shukuma, who you work under, who you report to, that is you as Dan Kebe, you will report to him. Now, Michael Shukura, that client that has been pushed to him, he will delegate that job to you. So from our lectures, from our discussions in the class, when there is a firm and when there is a client to work on, that means the firm will prepare the report to be submitted to the client, which makes it an external report. That is one information we can deduce from that paragraph. It makes it an external report. As simple as it sounds, when you know that you are writing an external report and you know that you need to put a disclaimer, and that a disclaimer worth a mark in the exam, that is a valuable information, because that one mark may be a deciding factor for you to pass the exam. So that is on one side. So on the other side, you are now told that you have certain responsibilities. They said the first one is that you will prepare detailed financial analysis and reports on the performance of the firm's hospitality clients. So detailed financial analysis and report on the performance. So you are going to be analyzing and reporting on the performance of the clients. That is the P&L account. You are going to be looking at the P&L account and analyze it. You analyze it, you are going to be telling whether the company has been profitable over the years or not. you're going to be saying that you're going to be looking at the items on the profit or loss account and tell what the company has been doing over the years. Then that is one. And what information that can project to us is, or suggest to us is, that is more like telling us that one of the requirements will be financial statement analysis. One of the requirements will be financial statement analysis. So that is a good information. So we already know that we'll likely do financial statement analysis. Then the next thing is to look at series of possible ratios that we could compose for the financial statement analysis. Then the second responsibility says that you will analyze your client's financial statement to identify areas of weaknesses, and you are to provide what? Solutions to the management. So areas of weaknesses will likely be areas where the ratios are below certain standard or below certain average, okay? That will amount to a weakness. On the other hand, all the ratios that are up to standard or above standard will amount to strengths. Okay, so where the ratios are below standard or are below the averages or are below the previous year that you are comparing with, then you can tell the management, you can suggest to the management what they can do in order to turn around that result. Okay, again, that supports the financial statements, understanding we talked about with the first responsibility that there may be need for us to, that the one of the requirements may be financial statement analysis. Then number 3, assessing your client's operational and strategic business proposals. Assessing your client's operational and strategic business proposals. Operational and strategic business proposals. Proposal could come in form of investment proposal. Okay, maybe a proposal is coming to the client, and they will want you to appraise such proposal. For instance, the client might be giving some since it is hospitality industry, maybe government want to have a particular event in the location of the client's hotel, right? And they say that, okay, our delegates are coming there and we want you to lodge them, we want you to do this, and this is the rate we give us your rate, but this is the rate we are ready to pay for that period of time. Okay, that is a proposal. Then you can look at it that, okay, if you take this proposal, will it be profitable based on certain expenses the company will incur for that period of time and the profit margin that they normally add? Then you look at it. If it is profitable, you advise the company to take the proposal. If not, they should decline. A proposal might also be a kind of merger and acquisition proposal. You could have merger and acquisition proposal. You could have investments in plants and machinery. It could be investment in upgrade of upgrading the information technology of the company and some other things. So that is, I'm trying to open your mind on what the proposal could mean. Okay, on what the proposal could mean. Then you look at how that proposal align with the objective. The objective will be that they want to be profitable. They want to make profit. The company is existing to make profit, right? That's the objective. Is the proposal profitable or not, right? Then you should also consider financial risk involved if they are to accept that proposal. These are the sort of things that that could come up based on that particular responsibility. Then assessing your client's financial and business forecast. So forecasts are more like the estimate that they have made based on their past performance, So look at the forecast and look at the assumption upon which the forecast have been based, right? So that you can make recommendation. So from this now, we have identified that and for them to say operational and strategic business, that also relates to, what do you call it? Business analysis. Excuse me, please. That relates to business analysis. So I've just talked about the fact that the first requirement could be financial statement analysis. Another requirement could be financial data analysis on the proposal I mentioned. But over the years, since November 2019, particularly last diet, May 2024, so they were given this kind of exhibit 1. And in that diet, business analysis also came in. So I would like us to open our mind to the possibility of the case coming with business analysis requirements mixed with maybe financial data or financial statement analysis. Okay, so these are my own view about the exhibit 1. Is there any question before we move to exhibit 2? Any question before we move to exhibit 2?
Sorry, sir. Please can you explain that point number 4 again? Assessing your client's financial and business forecasts.
Oh, okay. So forecast could be, let's assume that the client in the case may have a kind of forecast that they have made on their performance. They've forecasted what their performance will look like for a particular period, okay? For a particular period. And they want you to, what could have happened is they may want you to now compare the actual performance with a forecast. That's the extent they could go. Compare the actual performance with their forecast. Then you can now compare and all that. And, then, being a forecast, you can be skeptical about it. And that is where professional skepticism could come in. You can be skeptical about the assumptions upon which they made the forecast, and you can recommend anything. So forecast is just forecast. When we say, okay, we will likely make 10 million as revenue in 2023, we'll likely make 50 million as revenue in 2024 or something like that. So that is it.
Okay.
Any other question before we move to exhibit 2? All right, let's move to exhibit 2. If there are no questions, let's move to exhibit 2. Someone should read exhibit 2 for us.
Okay, I'll read. Nigeria is one of the biggest markets in Africa and has a population of over 200 million people, with a youth population that provides Nigeria with an advantage over many countries. In addition, the country is endowed with excellent weather conditions, many tourist attractions, and significant natural resources, including oil and gas. The country's heavy dependence on oil and gas has decreased in the last few years. For example, in the third quarter of 2022, activities in oil and gas sectors accounted for about 5.6% of Nigeria's gross domestic products, down from 7.5% recorded in the third quarter of 2021. However, oil and gas revenue remains a crucial source of government revenue, consisting constituting 29% of total government revenues in the first half of 2022. Though crude oil and gas continues to account for the bulk of Nigeria's export earnings, efforts are in place to diversify the economy while ensuring the country's energy security. The rate of growth and development has been hindered by a number of issues, including poor implementation of government policies, the high cost of doing business, the poor state of essential infrastructure, insecurity, corruption, challenges with the judicial system, low level of transparency and accountability. On the implementation of the government's policies, until recently, the Central Bank of Nigeria had imposed exchange control on several product categories and intervened in the market to keep the official naira rate from depreciating. Though steps were taken to harmonize exchange rates in the past, this was not fully addressed until the resumption of new administration. This notwithstanding, one of the most daunting challenges for businesses entering the Nigeria market is the limited access to foreign exchange, thus reducing the ability to import necessary inputs and equipment and to service external debts. Foreign exchange is tightly managed by the Central Bank of Nigeria, and users trade in the alternative market for their unmet needs. Despite the challenges, Nigeria presents with significant opportunities for local and international entrepreneurs. The development of digital economy, ushering the massive use of technology has continued to provide opportunities for the developing population and helping organizations to transform their processes, minimize costs and maximize stakeholders' returns. For instance, by leveraging data, businesses can gain valuable insight into their inventory, receivable and cash flows, enable them to make more informed operating, investing, and financing decisions. The next phase is the hospitality and industry in Nigeria. Am I expected to continue? Hello, can you hear
Continue.
me?
That's part of SB2. That's part of SB2.
Okay.
Continue.
The hospitality industry in Nigeria. At the time, Nigeria had the fastest growing hospitality market in Africa, with a projected 12% compound annual increase from 2019 to 2023, according to an expert projection. In early 2020, however, the COVID-19 pandemic was one of the worst hit. This slowed down the growth of hospitality industry in Nigeria. Tourism, a related industry, contributes about 10% to global GDP. This was expected to rise in 4 years with significant upward movement in some African countries, including Nigeria. In Nigeria, the contribution of travel and tourism to our GDP was 5.1% in 2019. However, in 2020, the upward trajectory slowed down due to the pandemic. As the world continues to adapt to the changes brought about by COVID-19, the hospitality industry is making a steady but slow return. Apart from the COVID-19, the green revolution of environmental sustainability is development impacting the hospitality industry. According to a research by Jenny Sodan, it has been projected that as people think more carefully about the way they travel, they will seek out hotels and travel companies that are doing everything they can to minimize their impacts on the planet. We can also expect accreditations to gain prominence as consumers look for reassurance from legitimate ecotourism certifications, and we want to book trips that leave them feeling better than before when they return home. Wellness tourism will be increasingly popular. Globally, there is an optimistic projection that the hospitality industry will make a remarkable return. However, only the prepared can make a quick return, and to do so requires an understanding of the uniquely changing needs of customers and clients. Nigeria needs to take proactive approach in order to be at par with global best practices and not wait for others to take advantage of the relatively small market that is making a rebound. According to Deloitte, the COVID-19 pandemic will eventually fade, the economy will recover, and the hospitality sector, restaurants, hotels, casinos, sports, etc., will regain its footing and look forward with to a successful thriving future. However, now is the time for companies to act, adapt to new normal, position themselves for environmentally friendly and sustainable business and thrive in the years ahead. So that's the end of the speech.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for reading for us. Now
Thank
that
you.
is exhibit number 2. That is exhibit number 2 for us. So I would like us to make contribution, to make comments on this exhibit. Make comments. Any area that is meaningful to you, please just tell us something. You know, you might not know whether that thing that you will say now will help someone to understand a part better in that particular exhibit. So please, I will leave you to make comments now. Who is going first?
Okay, I'll go first.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So, exhibit.
Yeah, I'm Onebo Biama, sir. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
going first, please. Yes. Okay, with what my other colleague read, like from the first passage, from the first listen, I understand that yes, there are great opportunities for Travex in this hospitality industry because it showed that in Nigeria here, they have very excellent conditions where many tourist attractions and significant natural resources are. And if there are a lot of opportunity where tourists come in, you find out that it will yield a lot of income to Travex Hotel, which I think increased their revenue during the time in view. And secondly, I also went down, the rate of growth and development has been hindered. To me, these are threats to the industry, whereby we have poor implementation, government policies, high cost, and a lot of ATI insecurity. With all these threats, a lot of people might not even want to come to a country whereby there is insecurity, infrastructure is poor, the corruptions and the rest. I believe that there's challenges there too. And also we have our foreign exchange risk there also, which CBN, with the recent government, came and put some changes in it. I think that's my contribution for now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your contribution. Any other person?
Yes, I want to go.
All right, go on.
All right, so this exhibit 2, right? So he's actually talking about the operating environment of Travex, right? So he's also talks about the strength, like talks about the opportunities and the challenges, right, in the operating environment of Travex. So first of all, it started with the population, right? So we have the large and young population, about 200 million. Then there's also rapid urban growth, right? And so all of this can actually inform the strategic business decisions, right, that Travex can actually make. So the opportunities, right, that I saw in the exhibits, they said there's an expanding domestic market, right? There's a growth in the middle class. There's increased urbanization, right? So, and these offer great opportunities to Travex. So they can capitalize on this by tailoring the packages for local and corporate leisure travelers. Then he also talks about sustainability, right? So sustainability can actually be a differentiator here between Travex and their rivals. So if they adopt green practices, they can actually appeal to like eco-conscious travelers, right? And this can actually reduce operational costs for them, right? So if they invest in sustainability initiatives, right, it can actually differentiate them from their competitors. But the exhibit 2 also talks about some challenges, right? So challenges like cost pressures from inflation, which reduces the purchasing power of Nigerians, right, or of their potential customers, right? And there are also infrastructure gaps, right? And also, to remain competitive, they need to enhance their service offerings because they talked about boutique. I think we talked about some boutique hospitality services, right? Where people actually they are actually like alternatives where they are like houses where people can actually cook their own meals, right? And so this could actually be rivals to hotel industry, right? So this is actually a challenge also. Then security, I think that's like the biggest threat, right? So security is also an issue. Then it also talked about electricity. Yeah, I think that's where it talked about infrastructure and all. Like we all know, the power grid keeps collapsing, right? So this can actually lead to increased operational costs for Travex because they will need to then invest in generators, and then they will also need to buy fuel and all of these things, and it might not really be eco-friendly, right? And so they might not really appeal to these eco-conscious travelers that we talked about. Yeah, so that's what I can actually say about the exhibit. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your wonderful
I can't hear.
contribution. Thank you.
Hello, Pali.
Pali, I can hear you. Why
Yes,
can't
sir.
you hear us?
I can't hear anything.
Pali, I
No.
can hear you. I can hear you loud
Hello.
and clear. Is your network? Let me drop a message for her. Pali, is your network? You need to.
You can join again, Akuna.
Pali, I can't hear you.
I want to send a message to her. Okay. So, any other contribution? Okay.
I have a contribution.
All right, go on.
Okay, so about the hospitality industry in Nigeria, it says somewhere that in early 2020, however, the COVID-19 pandemic spread globally, and the tourism industry was one of the worst hit. I think this also is going to help in the analysis of the financial statements. If you look at the exhibits where we have the financial statement, in 2020, we see that Travis made a loss in 2020. And I think we can also relate that to that pandemic situation. I think that's one thing I want to add.
Okay, that's good observation. Any other contribution? Any other contribution? Any other contribution? Okay. So in order to save us some time, now those who have made comment, they have made brilliant comments. So I'm just going to be adding few other. Yes.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello.
I can't hear anything.
Can you hear me
you,
now?
sir. Before you know, you're going to go to exhibit 3. I can't hear anything, sir. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me now? Hello. Can you hear me? Goodness me. Yeah, I know it's a network. I know. Only if you can read our Pali, just log out. Log out and join again. I hope she can see the message on the screen. Okay. So they have made brilliant comments. One thing you should know before in this exhibit 2 is that they said the Nigerian economy and the hospitality industry. In as much as your clients travels, already we have seen that you are going to have a client travels. So let's start relating with it. In as much as your client travels is domiciled in Nigeria and is operating in hospitality industry, right? Now, whatever we see or we read that they say that is affecting the Nigerian economy will in turn affect the hospitality industry in which your clients operates in. And if it affects the hospitality industry, it will also affect your clients. Invariably, whatever happens to the Nigerian economy will affect the hospitality industry and will affect your clients. So they said over 200 million people, and with youth population, which means Travex, this youth population can serve as human resources, can work, can be employed to work. This is an advantage, right? Then I think one other place that may be of interest to us is that the rate of growth and development has been hindered, right, by a number of issues, including poor implementation of government policies, high cost of doing business, the poor state of essential infrastructure, insecurity, corruption, challenges with judicial system. Okay, so these are the sets of issues currently affecting the Nigerian economy. These are the sort of issues currently affecting Nigerian economy. Now, any poorly implemented government policy will invariably affect the hospitality industry and will affect the the client, because it operates in that industry. So please, I would like us to look out for some of these government policies that they may likely mention later on, because some policies will likely help us in interpreting maybe some financial information and maybe any other parts of the requirement. Maybe there is a project that they want to execute. Now, if a policy will affect that particular project, so they might have to look out for that, right? So they talked about high cost of doing business. If there is high cost of doing business in Nigeria, it will equally affect the hospitality industry and will affect your client in the case. Okay, so for instance, we might see that the cost of the operating expenses or the direct expenses are kind of high. Yes, it's as a result of this high cost of doing business in Nigeria. So we might always want to link it back to this information we have been given. In some other climes, we can call this certain hints on what you should say as the reason for certain result you might get of your client in the case. These are possible hints. Okay, insecurity might also affect the industry. People who read about insecurity in Nigeria, I want to come for tourism, want to come and visit the tourist attraction centers in Nigeria. When they hear about insecurity, they will say, hey, Nigeria is not secure. They will not come. If they are not coming, they will not do what? Your clients which operate in the hospitality industry that works in the tourism, that's part of the tourism industry, we don't make sale. They will not make sale. So we can also argue that these are part of the reason why they will not be making sale, right? Poor state of essential infrastructure, like poor road network, maybe poor electricity, okay, can also be factors, right? So these are possible factors that could affect the complaint, your client in the case, that you should look out for. So the other point I find interesting is that they said Nigeria presents with significant opportunities for local and international entrepreneurs. So despite the fact that there are these challenges that we have seen before, okay, these challenges that we have read above, there are still opportunities that local companies can tap into, like your client. Your client is a local company. You can tap into some of these opportunities. What are these opportunities? The first one is development of digital economy. Development of digital economy that are ushered the massive use of technology. Okay, so so now many hospitality companies, they make use of technologies, digital platforms, in order to operate their hospitality companies. You can book in any part of this country. You can book it online, right? You can book it online. You can book your hotel online. You can do whatever you want to do. Some of them even when you book, you don't even need to talk to any person. You'll be sent your login details that you can use to access the room you are given to. Just get there, you use the login details you have been given, you access the room and all that. These are part of the opportunities that the Nigerian economy presents. So it's left for your clients to tap into this opportunity. Okay. Technology. We are talking about technology, and then one of the impact the technology could have is it could help them to minimize costs. It could help them to minimize cost. Imagine if they can book everything online and all that, there won't be need for them to employ maybe a receptionist again, maybe to employ some other persons. Then it can help them to cut costs. It can help them to cut costs. Even if they can get a robot to clean the rooms for them, It's also helped to cut costs and maximize shareholders' return. Okay. Then they now give us information about the hospitality industry. They said the hospitality industry is projected to have 12% compound annual increase from 2019 to 2023. Now, this is a projection. Now, the projection is related to the hospitality industry. And I told you that anything we are told will affect the hospitality industry will directly affect your clients. So this projection made here now, we should expect that the clients, the financial statement of your client shows that the company is growing over these years. So if it is not growing, then we need to investigate the reason why it is not growing in line with the industry. Now, they now told us that, however, 2020, something happened. The COVID-19 pandemic also affects the industry. So we can look out for that. So in 2020 now, if we see that the result is poor, the result of the company is poor, we know it's because of the COVID-19. We don't need to be guessing again. It's the COVID. We just keep mentioning the COVID-19. COVID-19 made people to stay at home. They are not coming. So nobody is booking hotels and all that. So their revenue will go low. Maybe they are still maintaining some of their operating expenses, right? So revenue is low, operating expenses is still high. So they are running into loss, right? So that was that about the hospitality industry. And another information they said is that so after the COVID-19, the hospitality industry is making a steady but slow return. So again, we should expect that from 2020 to whatever year we could get, we should expect a growth in the financial statement of the company. So the growth is expected since the economy is now back to normal. People can now work freely. People can now travel. People can now book hotels, go for events, go for, so many things, right? So people can do that. And they now said that it has been projected that as people think more carefully about the way they travel.
I think it's offline. I can't hear him too.
Okay. I can't.
Hello?
We can't
Hello?
hear him. Let us wait for him.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
We can
Hello.
hear.
We lost him maybe probably due to network.
Okay.
Let me quickly come in here to round up the exhibit 2. Because what the exhibit 2 focus on is just mainly on the Nigerian economy and the history of the hospitality industry. As our lady has beautifully read the information provided in the exhibit 2, and my erudite scholar, learned colleagues have done justice as your own contributions and observation about the exhibit 2. You are all right, and we are in the right track. So in summary, you see, the exhibit 2 first of all come by telling us the holistic information about Nigeria economy, starting from 2019 till date. And to summarize it, you discover that we are told that the Nigerian economy is among the largest markets in Africa. That is one. Two, the Nigerian economy is densely populated and it has over 200 citizens in terms of population. And out of these 200 citizens, there's an increasing and promising population of youth. This one will provide diverse categories of labor, both skilled, semi-skilled, and unskilled labor that the company can recruit to enhance their business performance. Apart from that, it was stressed in that case study that there's abundance of basic infrastructural facilities that will give the company an opportunity for business viability. So among the abundant resources we have in Nigeria are crude oil, gas, growing tourism and hospitality industry, and good climatic conditions. The climatic condition was emphasized there in that case. And then they said for you to know that the Nigerian government is making intensive effort to for you to know that the Nigerian government is making intensive effort to ensure the diversification of the economy, that the government has invested hugely on technology. And this one will help to diversify the economy and prevent undue reliance on oil and gas. So the information about the third quarter of contribution of oil and gas was given to us, that in third quarter of 2022, Nigerian government generates 5.6% of gross domestic product from oil and gas. Why in this is against a backdrop of fall, because in 2021, the percentage contribution of oil and gas to the GDP of Nigeria was 7.5% in 2021, but that dropped to 5.6% in 2022. This forms part of the rationale why the government don't want to fully rely on oil and gas again. And apart from that, we are informed that even up to now, the oil and gas is still the major source of revenue to the Nigerian government, because it generates the total percentage of 29% of revenue of the government in 2022. And that's the time period where we are moving to the period of new normal after the COVID-19. So apart from that, the major challenges that Dr. Lekon has discussed about, and some of our learned students who have made pivotal contributions, the major challenges are deficiency in policy of the government, declining growth and development, particularly due to the COVID-19, increasing operational costs, deficiency in basic infrastructural facilities, insecurity and corruption in the judicial system. And another thing that is causing crisis for some of the operators in the hospitality and tourism business that you fail to mention, which I know, if not for the sudden network issue, Mr. Lekon will have mentioned, because you omitted that, and it's very germane, it's crucial. That is the CBN intervention in the exchange rate control, in order for them to uphold the value of Naira. So as a result of that, CBN posed a lot of challenges and restrictions of most of the hotel business and other entrepreneurs in assessing. You must know that in the case, we are provided with some opportunities that companies are still gaining or expected in the Nigerian business environment, despite the myriad of challenges. Part of the opportunities is the digitalization of the hospitality business. And I've told you from the onset, the reason why the government is trying to digitalize.
Can anyone hear me?
Hello? Hello, can you hear me now?
I hear you.
Please,
Yes,
is
sir.
the network. Okay, some of the opportunities that are bound in the hospitality industry in Nigeria are the opportunity to digitalize the business activities, because already the government have spent a huge amount of money to ensure economic diversification. And they discovered that globally now, the trend now is people are now revolutionizing business activities and the economy by investment in robots, AI, and the rest that can bring about economic viability. So due to that, it will reduce the over-dependency on oil. So companies in the hospitality business can leverage on this digitalization of Nigerian economy to boost their business. So there is tendency that we might be asked of this, the significance of the digital economy of Nigeria on the business performance of operators in the hospitality industry. So this one will be beneficial to travelers in the following way. One, it will aid cost minimization. Their operational costs will be reduced. Two, it will promote investment and compliance to environmental sustainability and energy renewal. That is 2. And 3, it will be easier for the company to achieve the shareholders' return maximization and accumulation of wealth, since they have a client that they are managing their portfolio of investment for. So with the advent of technology, the achievement of return on investment, accumulation of the shareholders' wealth, and profit maximization will be easier. So apart from that, it will promote sound inventory management and innovation. So all these are some of the benefits that the technology, adoption of technology will bring. And above all, it will discourage inertia. Because it was stated in that case scenario, there was one aspect that I read that they said some of the companies in the hotel and tourism business, they still adhere rigidly to the old way, that is the orthodox way of doing business, due to lack of adoption of technology, particularly the small enterprises that don't have the financial capability to invest hugely in technology innovation. So generally, the hospitality industry they discuss about in SCB2, which we have mentioned, is that it has a promising sector. It's a promising sector with projected 12% contribution to GDP. But this projection cannot be met due to advent of COVID-19 and some other challenges that we have in Nigeria, particularly the insecurity, the ravaging insecurity, Boko Haram, kidnapping, and all sorts of things. But despite all these challenges, the hospitality industry still contributes 10% to global GDP and 5.1% to Nigeria GDP. So what we are going to deduce from this is that we should know that despite the challenges, the hospitality industry in Nigeria is still attractive and it has a promising future. So what the company is expected to do is to invest heavily in technology, and at the same time, they have to ensure environmental sustainability. Because in the SCB2, you failed to mention it, it was stated there that there is a changing pattern in the consumer buying behavior and preference for hospitality services, all because the purchasing pattern and behavior of the consumer is moving towards what we call green purchase decision. Don't forget that was stated, green purchase decision, because they said they want a hotel that have evidence of satisfied and legitimate ecotourism certification. So the implication of that is that any company that does not embrace eco-friendly, that does not guarantee the consumer safety, any company, hotel business, tourism business, or company that has failed to make landmark contribution in terms of positive social footprint to pollution, environmental protection, and many more, customers will not patronize it. So that should be the areas of priority to Travis company. So with that, we can say that we have do a holistic review of exhibit 2. So I don't know if we have any contribution to add, and if Mr. Lekon is back, so that we can be able to look at exhibit 3. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the fantastic contributions you have made. Thank you. We really appreciate it.
You are welcome, sir. I'm loyal, sir.
So is there any question before we move to exhibit number 3? Any question from the students? No question. Yes. Guess we are okay with this, with what we have been able to do with exhibit number 2. Now let's move to exhibit number 3. Let's move to exhibit number 3. So let someone read for us, please. Who is reading for us?
Okay, I will read.
All right, thank you. Go on.
Business environment and challenges facing the hospitality industry. Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa, with a growing middle class and rising international trade and investment. The hospitality industry in Nigeria is on a growth trajectory and has shown significant growth over the years, driven by factors such as increasing business travel, tourism, and the growth of the Nigerian economy. However, COVID-19 pandemic put a temporary half on the industry's growth as players in the industry grapple with aftermath of the pandemic. The business environment of the hospitality industry in Nigeria is characterized, supported, or challenged by the following. A, tourism and business travel. Nigeria is a diverse country with many rich cultural heritage, natural attraction, and historical sites. This has led to growth in domestic and international tourism, boosting the demand for hotels. Additionally, Nigeria is an economic hub in West Africa, attracting business travelers and corporate events. B, economic factors. Nigeria's economy is one of the largest in Africa. Crude oil and gas export, telecommunications, finance and agriculture, and recently technological pursuits are significant contributors. Economic growth has a direct impact on the demand for hospitality services as it leads to increased business activities and disposable income for leisure travel. C, infrastructure. Adequate infrastructure, including well-maintained roads, airports, and communication networks, are crucial for the growth of the hotel industry. Improved infrastructure makes it easier for both domestic and international travelers to access various parts of the country. At the present in Nigeria, some of such infrastructures are in a poor state, mainly due to poor maintenance culture. In addition, challenges presented by unreliable power supply and inadequate waste management system have adversely impacted the operation hospitality industry. D, regulation and government support. Government policies and regulations play a significant role in shaping the business environment. Supportive policies that promote tourism, investment, and ease of doing business can positively impact the hotel sector. The federal government has put several policies in place as a form of incentive, including tax incentive for the industry to thrive. Security concerns. Security has been a challenge in Nigeria due to factors such as terrorism, kidnapping, and civil unrest in certain regions. The perception of safety can affect both domestic and international travel decisions, potentially impacting the hotel sector. F, competition. The hospitality industry in Nigeria is competitive, with both local and international claims vying for market share. Major international hotel brands often enter the market in collaboration with local partners, yet they still face stiff competition from smaller owner-managed hotels and guest houses. G, technology and online booking. The growth of online booking platform has changed the way travelers search for and book hotels. Hotel needs to have strong online presence and provide seamless booking experience to remain competitive. H, cultural diversity. Nigeria's diverse culture and languages present challenges in catering to the presence of various customers customer segment. Hotels that can accommodate a wide range of cultural preferences and dietary requirements may have a competitive edge. Continuous changing customer demand. According to some CEOs of international hotel chains, the hotel customer is more culturally oriented now, which makes understanding the more difficult. Regardless of the amount spent by customers, they are more interested in the value obtained for the money spent. Luxury is a term which has many definitions now and changes around customer perception more than ever. Brand or a well-designed hotel is not enough anymore, but the customer's experience matters most. J, competition from hotels alternatives such as apartment buildings. The hotel sector performed exceedingly well over the last few years until COVID-19 pandemic stunted the growth. Although the outlook appeared brighter from 2022, the sector still faces serious challenges that could threaten its development. One of the biggest threats to hotel, which emerged at about 2017, is competition from apartment buildings. Boutique firms. Boutique firms have also entered this business line, providing in some instances fully equipped accommodation for travelers who love to prepare their own meals as well, alternative to staying in the hotel. Okay. Ineffective marketing due to technological shyness. As technology continues to impact day to day human operations, hotels have been forced to reevaluate their marketing efforts to capture the ever-growing online market. Unfortunately, although a lot of hotels have embraced the internet and all aspects of digital marketing, many are still relying on old marketing practices. L, difficulties with energy management. A lot of hotels are going green and smoke-free. This is a great initiative as the planet fights global warming and other climate-related issues. Moreover, it is also a smart move to get more profit and an edge over the competition. Hotels must start investing in eco-friendly and renewable energy sources because customers are on the lookout for green and sustainable hotels. People want to contribute positively to climate control initiatives, and staying in eco-friendly and green hotels is one such initiative by a lot of frequent travelers. Establishments that refuse to take issues of sustainability seriously will be impacted negatively as their overall profit margin will likely suffer. Poor customer satisfaction as delight become expectations. With more technological advancements, the entry barriers are lowered and new competitors and disruptors are appearing on the scene. Poor customer satisfaction has been one of the major hotel sector challenges in the past and continues to be so in 2022. This sets to intensify with growing competition and better customer management tools. Shortage of trained and specialized personnel within the hotel sector. The sector has suffered from this shortage, but with greater automation, this is set to become more challenging. Hotels that do not prioritize employment of trained and specialized personnel are bound to face more serious challenges. in their service delivery. Finding the right people may be more challenging for smaller hotels. Supply chain management. The role of supply chain management in the hotel sector is crucial to attaining sustained competitive advantage. A well-managed supply chain can be the key difference between a successful and an unsuccessful hotel operation. Multiple stakeholders are involved in the supply chain of the hotel sector businesses, and they face many operational risks, which include risks of holding large inventories at high holding costs, risks of preserving perishable goods at high storage costs, etc. Increasingly, the effective deployment of IT to inventory management has resulted to significant net benefits to the sector. Thank you very much. That is the end of Exhibit 3.
Thank you so much for helping us to read Exhibit 3. So I'll give you time for contribution. I'll give the student the time for contribution. Who is going first? Who is going first, please? Or because of time, Mr. Ali, do you have any contribution?
Yeah, I wanted to make a contribution.
Okay, go on.
Hello,
Go
sir.
on.
Okay, he has a contribution.
Yes, let him go on, please.
Okay. Let me hear you out before I come.
Okay, so from that Exhibit 3, and maybe from every other thing I've read, right? So we talked about the demand for tourism and business travel in Nigeria, right? So we already talked about the increasing urban middle class, right? So domestic tourism within Nigeria is expanding. And we talked about some constraints like inflation, limited disposable income, right? So while the company might actually see some benefit from domestic travelers, especially for leisure, right? So the primary revenue will continue to come from their business segments, right? So there are also economic influences like inflation and operational costs. So we also talked about currency volatility and the cost of imports, talked about dependence on oil and fluctuations, right? So we also mentioned unreliable power supply. Then there's also transportation and accessibility, right? Nigeria's road network of the roads, right, and public transportation, they are underdeveloped. So it kind of creates challenges for tourists, right, traveling between cities or exploring major hubs like Lagos and Abuja, where the company is actually, that's Travex is actually situated. So there's also water and waste management issues. So I think Nigeria also grapples with this challenge, right? So we also talk market entrance, right? So I think they said in 2017 or so, so Nigeria hospitality sector has seen an influx of both we said international hotel chains and local brands, right? So they also offer amenities to high-end guests, right? So this new entrance that we're talking about, they are equipped with modern facilities and luxury services. So they also target the same business, right? And the same clientele as Travex. So this would increase pressure on the company to kind of like maintain its competitive position. So I think to differentiate itself, the company might need to upgrade its offerings, right? So maybe invest in guest experiences and things like maybe offer maybe a couples kind of package, maybe a businessman kind of package. So just differentiate themselves from the others. So we also talked about alternative accommodations in this exhibit, right? So we talked about the rise of service apartments, like the Airbnb, right? So it's actually flexible for customers. So it's also an affordable option than the normal traditional hotel services that Travex is offering. So, and this might actually even be more appealing to long-term business travelers, right? So I think you can actually cook their own meal. Say there's a parlor, there's a room, and so like all these service apartments, right? So it might actually appeal to some travelers. So for Travex, that's the company we're actually looking at, right? These alternative accommodations might represent a threat, right? It might be a threat as it might be more appealing to or even convenient. We also talked about the flexibility for other travelers. So there's also the evolving consumer preferences, right, and expectations. So if we talked about younger generation, right, so Gen Z and the like, right, so they are looking for unique, personalized experience. So like I said before, Travex needs to differentiate themselves to be able to provide specialized services. So we cannot also overflog the eco-friendly services we also talked about, right? Eco-friendly practices. So the company needs to be green, right, in order to attract customers, right? So they need to implement sustainable practices like energy efficient lighting, water conservation systems, right? So I know there is this automatic faucet where once you put your hand under the faucet, the water comes out automatically, right? Without having to switch anything or turn any lock, right? So they could also invest in this to conserve water, right? And so all of this will actually improve the company's brand image, right? So we also talked about digitalization and investing in technology, right? So I'm trying to think. Okay, I think that's all I can think about for now. Yeah, and that thing is the challenges, right? The challenges, the security issues we talked about. So we talked about exchange rate volatility. We talked about what else? Security, exchange rate volatility, and inflation. Yeah. So that's all I can think about for now.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, can
That's
anybody
a
hear me?
beautiful, yeah, that's a beautiful contribution. We all had your valuable contribution. Permit me to come in now. I salute you because within the limited time that we have read this, we'll be able to come up with this few meaningful, significant contribution. But I have another perspective that is quite totally different from the angle at which you look at that exhibit 3. So to me, that exhibit 3 is deadly and very dangerous. And that might be an avenue where a lot of students will lose mark. It will be an avenue where ICAN and the examiner will hit the students deeply. Because, when that exhibit 3 was being read by our gentleman, ICAN specifically states we have alphabet A to O. Because I try to look at it holistically, what they are trying to do here. So this aspect of exhibit 3, I implore you to revisit the aspects. Probably immediately after this, our pre-scene analysis and lecture tonight, or probably tomorrow or next when you are reading. You will discover from alphabet A to O, there are different captions that the examiner gave us in the pre-scene. We have the caption that discusses about the supply chain management, the one that talks about the diverse culture of the people, the one that talks about the shortage of availability of skilled personnel with technological driving. We have the one that talks about the technology. So what I'm expecting, and the reason why I have another different perspective of this exhibit 3 is that when you look at the caption of the exhibit 3, it was titled Business Environment and Challenges in the Hospitality Industry. I've informed you when we are discussing the business environment as a topic, that anytime business environment comes out, your orientation and your expectation should be that you should have the mind that you should think of pestle analysis and Porter's diamond theory. Even in the syllabus, it was stated there. So in the exhibit 3, the alphabet A that characterized the Nigeria hospitality industry is A, tourism and business level. Let me take it from there. B, economic factor. C, infrastructure. D, regulation and government support. E, security concern. F, competition. G, technology and online booking. H, cultural diversity. I, continuous changing consumer demand. J, competition from hotel alternatives, such as apartment building. K, ineffective market due to technological shyness. I, difficulty with energy management. We have M, poor customer satisfaction. Poor customer satisfaction as the light become expectation. N, shortage of trained and specialized personnel with the hotel sector. And O, supply chain management. So what I expected you to do here is that you have to categorize all these things by using pestle analysis. So I'm promising you on behalf of Equity that by special grace of God, by tomorrow, all those few things that I and Mr. Lekon we have jotted, I have a robust explanation, a summary of each of these exhibits, solution, and what you are expected to do. So my own solution at this end is this. Listen attentively, please. We are going to have this one. It's going to be tough. I will put it in your platform tomorrow. Exhibit 3, business environment and challenges in the hospitality industry. Can I put it that using the information provided in the preceding case, the business environment facing the traffic can be analyzed by using pestle. And if you like, you can use by using pestle or pestle C and Porter's diamond theory. So immediately I give you that introduction and telling you the model I want to use to analyze the exhibit 3. So the pestle analysis is like this. All the information provided from alphabet A to O, you will fit it in where it belongs under the pestle analysis. That is what I think ICAN will ask us by the time we say the same question at the government stage. How did I go about that? Look at this solution. Number 1, P for political environment. Under the political environment, we are informed of A, huge investment of government in technology to minimize over-reliance on oil and gas and diversify the economy is fall under political environment because it's the government that made that decision. Under political environment, number B, provision of tax relief and incentives by the government. So these 2 points that I gave you fall under political environment. In number 2, economic environment. What do we have in economic environment in exhibit 3? The economic environment facing traffic comprises of the following. A, abundant natural resources was stated. B, promising economic growth aided by investment in technology. C, which the gentleman mentioned, increasing disposable income for travel leisures among the Nigeria because their disposable income increase because of the promising economic growth and incentives that the government give. Under the economic environment, we have serious security challenges. You put this one under the economic environment too. E, decaying infrastructural facilities. So you pick them randomly in all these alphabet from A to O and categorize them using pestle analysis. We have decaying infrastructural facilities, is fall under economic environment. Epileptic power supply fall under economic environment because it has economic implication. it was only epileptic power supply, unstable power supply that was mentioned here. It is possible in the same question, they can now add increase in tariff in electricity, but it is not provided now. And that's the reason why the precinct give us just 45 or 50% of what we are expecting in the exam. So poor lean manufacturing was mentioned in the exhibit. The lean manufacturing means that there's a poor waste management among the hotel owners. So we are first on political and economic now. In the social factor, what are the things that we have to put under the social factors? The social factors comprises of A, evidence of diverse cultural heritage. This is a major challenge for most of the operators in the hotel business, particularly in Nigeria, because Nigeria have over 200 million citizens with diverse culture, multilingual languages, different food requirements, and many more. All these are stated. You put it under the social factors. B under social factor is growth in local and global tourism due to preference for traveling and tourism among Nigerian citizens. So we have C, continuous and drastic changes in the customer's demand, perceptions, values, and proposition. You know, they told you that the money that the customers are paying, they want value for this money. Now it is beyond having a popular brand, a celebrated brand, but what they want is value for the money and company that can produce green hotel for them. That is ecotourism. That is that about social factors. Under the technological factor, number 4, T. What are the things that we have to put under the technology? So in the technological factors, we have the robust government investment in technology to boost hospitality industry. B, economic diversification aided by technology. C, online customers transaction due to the investment of the hotel companies and the tourism company in digital operations. So as a result of that, they promote customers engagement, online booking of tickets, and many more. All these ones fall under technology. So the next alphabet, which is E, you can term your E as ecological factor. You can term it as environmental factors, or you put it together, ecological/environmental factors. So the ecological or environmental factors provided in the case comprises of the following. We have 1, natural attractions to Nigeria, favorable climatic conditions, attractive and historical tourism location, like Badagry and some other places, Olumo, all these tourism locations in Nigeria. And we have reduced smoke-free and environmental sustainability policy. That means majority of the companies operating in the tourism and hotel business, they ensure compliance to some extent about the environmental sustainability policy of the government, and they reduce environmental pollution. Under the legal, which is L, the 2 things I put under the legal as provided by the exhibit is government tax policy and government technological advancement policy. So the last one, which is C, competition, because I use PEST C to analyze it. Under the competition, what are the things that we have in competition? You get this one correctly. If I salute you there. Under the competition, we have A, intense competition in the industry from both local and international firms. B, collaboration strategy between local and international firms to minimize threats and have edge over other rivals. It was clearly stated there. So another thing that we have as competition, we should get 100%. I salute you for that, is local competition from apartment buildings owners and boutique firms at reduced costs. So we have used PEST C model to analyze the information given to us holistically in Exhibit 3. So, having looked at that, so what are the threats facing the hospitality business in Nigeria? When we look at that Exhibit 3, the threat that was stated in that Exhibit 3 is emergence of substitute products. That is the building owners and boutique firms using their facilities to run hotel business. You can imagine. Tax incentive by the government. The tax incentive by the government, I expect you to ask me that, how does it become a threat again to the hospitality business in Nigeria? The tax incentives happen to be an opportunity and at the same time it's a threat. You must put it in both. It is a threat because the tax incentive by the government attracts new potential competitors. It attracts the new entrants because of that tax relief. They'll be willing and eager to come to that market. It's made the hotel and tourism industry in Nigeria to be more attractive because of that tax incentives. So, number 3 threat in the Exhibit 3 is increasing technology. The increasing technology creates lower entry barriers for those companies that have the financial strength and muscle that can invest hugely into technology. They can be able to penetrate that industry easily. So it erodes the entry barrier in the market and bring about increasing operating costs. So majority of the small hotels cannot invest heavily in all this. If I should tell you, because of this case scenario, we can ask Mr. Lekon and Mr. Wasil Yusuf. I have to rush down to Lagos from Ibadan. I went for a conference. So for you to look at this increasing technology, the hotel I intend to log in, it was a little bit shabby. It's not something that you can sleep there with your 2 eyes. So the level of technology, the infrastructural facilities and what have you is low. So I can't log into that kind of hotel. So by the time we look at Exhibit 4 and the rest, we see the amount of money some companies have invested in environmental sustainability, in technology and energy saving. So increasing technology is a threat to small operating hotel, and it's reduce the high entry barriers and make a lot of companies to come into that hotel easily once they have the money to invest in technology. So another threat, COVID-19 pandemic is there. That won't slow down the hospitality business. At some point, it brings about stagnant in the business growth or declining business growth. So the quest for green revolution and environmental sustainability is a threat, but it is not all companies that can meet up with this demand presently. So drastic changes in the consumer buying behavior, green purchase behavior is there. Insecurity was measured, cultural diversity, shortage of skill and technical staff. That is number N. They say shortage of trained and specialized personnel within the hotel. So poor integration of technology is there. High cost of recruitment of expertise. So that is what I expected you to look at, and the direction you look at that Exhibit 3. So what are the PESTEL recommendations? Because I will expect you in exam. If a question comes out on this, categorize it using the PESTEL information. I will be generous by giving you all this information. I will type it and put it. So once you type it, let us know the threats in Exhibit 3 and what are your recommendations based on the PESTEL C analysis that we have done. So let me give you 1, 2, 3 recommendations while you will see others so that I can allow us to move. Part of the recommendation based on the PESTEL C analysis are this. 1, the hotel management and owners are expected to adopt green tourism. So contribute immensely, invest in green ecotourism and sustainable environmental performance. 2, there should be compliance to environmental sustainability policy of the government. And 3, very, very important, there should be adaptation strategy, particularly to diversity of the people culture. That is number H after alphabet H, cultural diversity. Nigeria have different culture, different religion, different languages, and the rest. So, and there should be effective recruitment of the right quantity and quality of staff with technology. So, and since people are demanding for legitimacy of ecotourism certification demand, the companies are expected to register with Standard Organization of Nigeria, ISO 31,000 and all these things. They must have the certificate. So that have settled what we call Exhibit 3. But not in exam condition. It was stated in your syllabus. ICAN said, in the business environment, students are required to have a deep understanding of person analysis as a model and Porter's diamond theory, because all these two models are important in explaining and analyzing the business environment. So let me inform you that Exhibit 3, we are going to use the combination of pestle analysis and Porter's diamond theory, depending on what the question is being asked or that might be asked at the judgment stage. So in the Porter's diamond theory, I put it this way, very quick one. It won't take me more than 2 minutes. Students are required to have the ability to use Porter's diamond theory in explaining the Exhibit 3, because it is their main in business environmental analysis. In the preceding case given, adequate information that encouraged the use of diamond theory was not fully provided. That's how I put it. But that notwithstanding, the information provided are this: A, abundance of natural resources. Once you see abundance of natural resources, we are going to put this one under your what? FC. That is your factor conditions. And the very reason why I want this precinct to be physical, so that all these things will be explained. The abundance of natural resources in the case in the Exhibit 3 fall under factor condition. Because I inform you, according to Michael Porter, he said we have two major factor conditions. We have the basic factor and advanced factor. So in Exhibit 3, the basic factor, the factor condition that we have are oil and gas, good climatic condition, infrastructural facilities, and many more. All these things are factor condition. B, collaboration between foreign international hotel and local hotel to gain competitive advantage and entrance. That one fall under support from related companies. So C, existence of competition from local international building owners and boutique firms that are using here their building. And like my friend said, that they are using their room and parlor to make provision for people for hotel at a reduced cost. So all this existence of competition from the local and international building firms or whatever creates rivalry. That is alternative source of hotel provision is a rival. D, strategic business location, board composition, because they inform us about the board composition of the company that Waterview. This one discuss about the firm structure strategy, because they put in place a good structure. They have a balanced composition of board, and their committee that was constituted too was a little bit balanced. E, increasing demand from customers. That one discuss about demand factors under the Porter's diamond theory. So with that, that's my contribution to Exhibit 3. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We really appreciate your extensive contribution. So on my own part, there's nothing else I will add. My Oga has done so, in fact, more than expected. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. I don't know if there's still any question from the students on that Exhibit number 3 before we move to Exhibit number 4. And for the Exhibit number 4, there won't be need for us to read. So I will quickly ask my Oga to just make few comments on it, because he has already touched on it. He has touched on it, so he should just help us to make that comment fully so that we can close Exhibit 4 in addition to Exhibit number 3. So is there any question? Any question, please?
Exhibit.
Is there any question, please? All right. So we don't have question, please, sir. Mr. Ali, please, go on
Sir.
that exhibit number 4.
Okay, exhibit number 4. Okay.
Please, I have a question.
Okay, what?
Oh, a question is coming.
Yes, please. When we're applying these models, like when they ask us in a requirement to apply the model, to use the model to explain something, how do we go about it, like in a report way, like reporting, not just like sitting and listing things for them?
Okay.
Please, sir, let me
Hello?
answer that question.
Okay, sir.
Mr.
Okay, sir.
Ali.
You can go ahead, sir. Okay, sir. Go ahead, sir.
So, how do we apply it? That's what we have done in the class, and we can't be doing that here right now. It's extensive class that we have done in the class. It's in fact it's a process that we have gone through in the class, and we can't be discussing that in this at this moment. That's more like the foundational class, and we can. This is the this is like the advanced and final class that we cannot be going there. However, I think I can see. Hello?
Yes, what was done in class was mostly how we are going to do business analysis, financial statement analysis, and all that. But when it comes to how the models are going to be applied, like how we are going to use the models to analyze the reports and make a report, we never really treated something like that.
That's not correct, please. That's not correct. So what's business analysis about? The operational and strategic analysis, what is it about? Operational and strategic analytical skill, which is business analysis, is basically on how we can use a model to analyze the business operation and environment and all that. And we discussed about that for like 2-3 weeks. So if you say we only did financial statement analysis, and you also mentioned that we did business analysis, which is on operational and strategic analysis and how to use business models. So you have said it yourself. Okay. So let me quickly make comments. So it's a process. So when we have business analysis and we are required to use a model, it's a process. So we have a 8 steps process. So the first one is the use of data and information about the business and its operation. Then once you are done with the use of data and information, then you go to professional tools and knowledge, where you look at the model. So what is the model? So he has said that for pestle now, he has put different factors under each of the parts of the pestle, right? So this what he has done now, we mostly be under the appendix. You would have prepared that under the appendix, right? So in the body of the report, when you are writing under the professional tools and knowledge now, you can then define whatever model you want to use. Define the model, tell us different parts. So when you are telling us the different part, like the political environment or political factors, what are political factors? Then you introduce those political factors that you have identified under the appendix. You bring it into the body of the report, maybe without saying anything. Now you are not telling us the impact that we make on the complaint, right? Then once you are done with that, then the next step is analytical scale. So under the analytical skill is where you now pick some of those factors under, let's say, political factor, economic factor, socio-cultural factor, and all that. Then you now pick them and explain them extensively, discuss them, tell us the impact it will have on the complaint, right? You do all those things. So once you are done with the analytical skill, then we will talk about other issues and options. What are those other issues? Maybe other issues that you have not mentioned, you discuss them. What are skeptical issues that you have identified? You discuss them. What are other external factors that you have identified? You discuss them. Then you make your conclusion and you make your recommendation. I can assure you that many of our students will tell us that yes, this is what we have already done in the class. So is there any other question, please?
Question, sir.
Any other question?
Question,
All
sir.
right, go on.
Just like
Okay.
someone have asked on the chat that these models, can we use the two together? And all I can sense again is that the SWOT as well go with this one. We have three different models, which is SWOT, Pestel, and Potter's Diamond. Are we testing the three on the case, or one is enough?
Well, from experience, okay, thank you for the question. Well, from experience, most of the times, Pestel and SWOT model, we most likely go together like that. So when you are saying two models, Pestel and SWOT model, we most likely, go together. For the strengths and weaknesses, they are internal factors that you can find that are within the control of the organization. You can find them, maybe their strengths. What can they do better? Maybe what they are lacking. Those are strengths and weaknesses. So for the opportunities and threats, whatever you must have identified under the Pestel, just like my Oga has done now, then you can classify them as either an opportunity or as threat. So that I can say. So, but the most important thing is that the model to be used will be largely determined by the requirement. So we can't say. I'm sure my Oga cannot say this is the model will largely depend on the requirement. So you have to be careful with the requirement. The requirement will tell you, okay, this is the likely model, or they can throw it open. When they throw it open, then partly you use your initiative to select the most appropriate model to be used for the case. Any other question, please? I hope I've answered
sorry,
that
sir.
question.
So you mean that they can tell us specifically the model to be used?
Yes, it's possible. And they can even throw it open so that you can use your initiative to select the most appropriate model to be used.
You know what would be appropriate for me might not be appropriate for others. Are they going to mark the same thing for us? For example, now I choose Pestel, my friend choose SWOT, another person choose Potter's Diamond. So you can go in and what they wish mark or the requirements?
Well, that is a difficult question for me either. So, but I've just said my own, right? I said Pestel and SWOT go together. So even if you use Pestel and you are not using SWOT, it will still go, because within SWOT, you will find Pestel. Pestel is more like opportunities and threats. All those factors under Pestel can be classified as opportunities and threats. So in a way, if out of Pestel and SWOT, you choose SWOT, it will still go, right? If you choose Pestel, well, I don't know, because you might not be able to identify strengths and weaknesses with only Pestel. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
I do.
So, so for Potter's diamond model, yes, it depends on the requirement. I don't know if there is any other model that can pair with Potter's diamond, so that you can use Potter's diamond and use another model alongside Potter's diamond. I don't know if my Mr. Ali, do you understand what the student is saying?
Yes, what he's trying to say is this. Let me inform you that as far as case study is concerned, the marking scheme or guide for case study is multidimensional, in that they throw the marking scheme open in some of the questions or requirements, because the answer that student A bring might come from different perspective. Answer question student B bring might come from another different perspective too. So there's no limit to the kind of contribution or answer or model that you can use. You get it? But there are some particular questions that once they are being asked, there is a specific answer for it. Anytime they ask you of the business environmental analysis, the model you use is Preston and Potter's Diamonds model. Those are the two that we use for business environmental analysis. Is that understood? Like, for instance, now, in the exhibit 4 that we want to use, that I want to discuss now briefly, it will not take more than 2 or 3 minutes, but we discovered that in the exhibit 4, much information was not provided in exhibit 4. We don't have any stress there. And when you look at that exhibit 4, what should come to our mind is that the caption of that exhibit 4 is Travis Hotel Limited, History, Board, Management, and Competition. So if I thought we are making suggestion, prediction, that okay, what can they ask them? We say competition. Anytime we are doing competition analysis, then Potter's 5 forces model of competition analysis is the most appropriate.
Yes.
Is that understood? So that's what my guy is trying to tell you. Is that understood? So we must know the appropriate. It's like if the question is centers on value creation or value proposition now, that everything in that hotel, they are talking about valuation analysis. You should know that if our question is coming on the requirement, then we should suspect that valuation analysis, primary and secondary analysis should be there. So we don't want to preempt you now because we don't know what exactly the question that is coming. But based on the little information that we have now, we are making expert prediction and judgments on them. Is that understood, sir?
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you are welcome. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other question, please, so that we can move to that exhibit number 4. Okay. So I think there is no question. So, sir, please, let's move to that exhibit number 4. Quickly summarize that exhibit number 4.
Okay, what we have in exhibit number 4, thank you, sir, is that the exhibit 4 is titled Travis Hotel Limited, History, Board, Management, and Competition. Meaning that in the exhibit number 4, the main focus in that exhibit 4 is that they discuss briefly about the history of the company, the composition of the board of directors, the management committee, and competition. So when you look at it in summary, the Travis Hotel Limited was established in 2001 in Abuja. That's the source of origin of the company, and it was regarded as a 5-star hotel. So this hotel was given to MTS to manage. MTS is a top-rated international hotel chain that have cognate cumulative years of experience in hospitality management. So they are the ones that are being empowered by Travis Hotel to manage the investment and see to all the corporate governance oversight. So apart from that, in exhibit number 4, we are informed that Travis Hotel was established in Lagos in 2010, but they began their operation 2 years after, that is in 2012, in a very strategic location in the heart of Lagos. So Travis Hotel, they enjoy a huge amount of customers' patronage from different geographical locations, from different customers with different cultures, status, class, and many more. So it is not only individual customers that patronize Travis Hotel in both Abuja and Lagos, but we are meant to know that the demand for the customers, demand for the services of Travis Hotel comes from the customers, the government, and professional bodies rooting Abuja and Lagos. In the composition of the Travis Hotel, we discovered that looking at the structure of their composition, to some extent I can say that the Travis Hotel have a balanced board composition. Why? Because they follow the Code of Corporate Governance and the regulations guiding the formulation of board of directors. Apart from that, they have the composition of both executive directors, net, non-executive directors, and independent non-executive directors. So we can say that Travis Hotel, they have a balanced board composition. In addition, the composition of the management committee too is balanced because we have the managing director, CEO, that is Richard Roy. We have business development or innovative director, general manager, chief financial officers, and what have you. So they don't constitute or bring all the power in the company into the hand of one person. There is a separation of responsibility, portfolio, and assigned tasks. So in competition that is being discussed, they said the company is facing intense and cutthroat competition. That is a very heady competition, particularly from the influx of new entrants that are coming into that industry. So that means the Travis Hotel, they are facing both local and international competition. And this gives a lot of nightmare and concern for the company. So as a result of that, the management of the company, the board of directors, they are working here and there to ensure restructuring and position of the company in a way that they can gain landmark competitive advantage over other competitors. And their major concern about the competition is that they are looking at the future effect of this competition on their customers base, on their return on investment, on their brand dominance, on their relevance and competitive position in the market. So they said in the case that they are concerned that they don't want this competition to erode the customer's patronage and their profitability. So this is just the few information that is being provided in Exhibit 4. So the implication of this is that in that Exhibit 4, we just have to look at the appropriate model to use here. Having looked at the SWOT analysis, I try to look at the SWOT analysis, but the information given to us is not complete. So that means we still have more information to be expected in Exhibit 4. But when you are doing the SWOT analysis, under the strengths, we have expansion and future expansion of markets and the business portfolio. 2, in the strength, they operate in a commercial hub in Nigeria, which is the Abuja and Lagos. 3, another strength of the company, they are rated 5-star hotel. 4, they are mostly patronized by customers, government, and professional bodies. So another strength of the company is they have a balanced board composition and management committee. Another one, in relation to the balanced board, they show greater compliance to code of corporate governance and regulations. So what are the threats facing the Travis in Exhibit 4 provided? The threats facing them is A, intense direct competition from new entrants with innovative capability. So another threat is erosion of customers base. They are losing a lot of customers. Customers are being hotel switching. So erosion of customer base and patronage in both Abuja and Lagos. And as a result of that, they have the major threat of future concern for further declining patronage and returns on investment. So information about the weakness of the company and the opportunity is not being provided. So it might be required, since they put competition analysis there, so if it is required in the exam, the best model for the competition analysis in the forthcoming exam should be Porter's 5 forces model. Porter 5 forces model. But that is the model that is being required to analyze the degree of competition in any chosen industry. So far, the hospitality and tourism business is concerned where Travis operates. Then what are the Porter's 5 forces model that we can apply? The Porter's 5 forces model comprises of 1, the threat of new entrants. 2, availability of substitute products. 3, the bargaining power of the supplier. 4, bargaining power of the customers. 5, competitions among major rivals. So when you look at this Porter 5 forces model, we are going to agree with me that using the number 1 to apply it to that case, the number 1 talks about new entrants. So what are the new entrants? You must make the examiner know that the new entrants, they refer to in Exhibit 4, they are the foreign hotel companies that either come to Nigeria to operate through direct investment, or those ones that enter the industry through collaboration with local hotel operators. 2, another new entrant source that pose many challenges to them is those people that are using the buildings and boutique firms to provide hotel services for travelers. That is the new entrance. In number 2, substitute products. What are the alternative substitute products that we have in this case? The substitute products there is they don't go to all these big hotels. So they have the options of patronizing all these local building owners and boutique, because it's not all that cost-free, but it minimizes the cost of lodging and the rest, though their facilities cannot be up to expectations. So in the bargaining power of the supplier, all information needed on this was not provided, but few information that we have that give travelers high bargaining power in the hotel business is 1, high innovation. They are innovative. They render innovative service delivery. C, good reputation. You can even see, we are informed that they are rated as 5-star hotel. That tells us that they have good reputation of goodwill. So another thing that gives high bargaining power to Travis Hotel, based on Exhibit 4 and what we have read in that case, is that they invest in ecotourism and sustainable growth, and they're able to attract and invest in staff recruitment, those staff that have the skills required. So number 4, the bargaining power of customers. In case we are using 5-4-6 model, what can we say about the bargaining power of the customers in the case? The bargaining power of the customers is low because most of the hotel business, they are not under the mercy of these customers for patronage, though they are concerned that the influx of new entrants is bringing about reduction in customers' patronage, customer switching, and the rest. But for those customers, for those companies that invest hugely on energy saving innovations, they have good reputation or whatever, they still have edge over customers. So the customers' bargaining strength is low in the case study provided. So some of the things that made the customers' bargaining strength too high is when we have a large number of hotels, numerous hotels that operate at a lower level, and we don't have short information in the case. Aside the fact that we are being told that the only alternative substitute products are the new building owners and the boutique firms that are using their hotel for short business gain. And another thing that will give the customers high bargaining power is demand for ecotourism and certificate legitimacy, meaning that customers will not patronize any company that do not have the certificates of quality, total quality assurance. So lastly, under competition, what can we say about competition? The level of competition in Exhibit 4, as evidence with what we have read, is high and is still on the increase. It is high and is still on the increase. And there is potential tendency that the competition will still be more intense in the nearest future. And this one can still become with more availability of substitute products. So what is the implication of this Porter 5-4-6 model that we just discussed in case we apply it or if it is required? So the implication of this is that we are going to inform the management that using the Porter 5-4-6 model, the following information should be given priority. 1, there is tendency for future increase in new entrants due to the attractiveness of the industry, investment in technology, and many more. 2, there is likelihood that in the future, there's going to be stringent government regulations, particularly for environmental sustainability. So this one can assist private hotel and other 5-star rated hotel, because majority of all these people using their room and parlor, all these their boutique to offer hotel services, they might not be able to meet up with these government restriction policy and regulations. So over time, they will fade away. So where number 3, there will be increasing suppliers bargaining power. Any company that can invest in innovation, technology, energy saving sources, and what have you, they will still continue to enjoy customers' patronage and landmark strategic capability and competitive advantage. So lastly, we can have future increase in profitability, growth, and attractiveness of the industry. So that's just the basic contributions I can make now based on the limited information provided in the case. Because we have to be very careful. We must not bring too much of external things in the case. We work based on the limit of the information that are provided. So for the company to be able to improve on their financial performance, retain their customers, attract new customers, they must ensure that they do constant competition analysis using Porter's 5 forces model.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for
You're
that.
welcome, sir.
For the justice you have done to that exhibit number 4. All right. I don't know if there is any question from the students. Do you have any question? Any question? Any question, please? No question. Okay. So let's move to exhibit number 5. Now, for exhibit number 5, as we have practiced in the class, someone is saying something.
Don't worry, sir.
Okay, so as we have practiced in the class, the financial analysis start from you looking at the financial statement, and you can quickly, identify certain things that are meaningful to you, right? So I'm sure we have seen the exhibit 5 before, so there's no time to give you to look at it. But I would like you to make 1 or 2 comments from the students now. Is there any comment you want to make based on the exhibit number 5? Any comments? What have you noticed maybe unusual about the account, and maybe any comments at all? Okay, I will give you some minutes to do that.
Okay, so I noticed, because I've checked this before, I noticed a sharp increase in their debt. So actually their debt to equity ratio. So it's very high.
Debt to equity ratio, very high. Well, you are taking us to ratio, leaving us on the exhibit 5. You took us to ratio straight. I mean, what comment can you make on this account before we even move to ratio aspects?
Can I say something?
Okay, go on.
Okay, so what I observed is that their operating expenses is quite high. And
operating expenses.
Yes, their operating expenses is a bit high, and which has impacted their operating profit. Yes. So it's something that they might need to consider. Then their other operating income also grew. So that means that there seems to be a potential for them to also make money from other operating income apart from their general revenue sources.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at their revenue, you can see that despite the impact of the COVID pandemic, they were actually able to generate good revenue, generate a good gross profit. But as you can see, it was the operating expenses for 2020 that made them to have a loss. And that might have been attributable to the COVID pandemic and all the things that were required during that period to ensure safety of the client. So that's my thinking. That's my thinking there. I also saw that their finance income grew from 2020 to 2021. There was a gradual growth in finance income, which also shows that they must have been making good money from their investments, and they can also consider increasing investments because those ones might not be negatively impacted by the expense cost. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's all that I have for now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that brilliant comment that you have made. Thank you so much. Any other comments? Any other comments?
Yes.
Okay, go on.
Also, their finance cost is rising.
The finance costs. Okay.
Yeah, their finance cost is rising.
Okay. It was 5.3 million in 2020, dropped to 4 million in 2021, and 4.1 million. So I think it's fluctuating. It's rather fluctuating. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay, so
Sorry, can I say something?
Yes. Who is that? Yeah, go on.
That finance cost, I think is because I think in exhibit 2 they said something like CBN regulating the interest rates thereabout, and then they didn't finalize the issue. So I guess that's where the finance cost is coming from.
Okay. They talked about CBN regulation on was it not on exchange rates? It was basically on exchange rate, right? Can someone confirm that for us?
Yeah, sorry, it was exchange rate.
Okay, good. All right. Any other comments, please? Any other comments?
I wanted to say that
I have
the revenue growth, like if we check from 2020 to
Okay.
2022, they grew from 9.5 billion to 31.5 billion, right? So this growth largely maybe due to increased demand from clients and recovery after the COVID. So if you also look at their loss, they made a loss in 2020. So we can attribute this loss to the COVID-19 pandemic, right? And we can see that they actually recovered in 2021 and the revenue actually increased in 2022. Now looking at their operating expenses, so yes, revenue is increasing, but operating expense is also increasing, right? So it's affecting their bottom line. So they would need better cost control measures, right? So yeah, I think that's all. Yeah, I've mentioned that debt to equity, but you said it's ratio, so those two.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments, please?
Okay, can I say something, sir?
All right, go on.
Okay. I don't know if it's a question I should put it, or because there's no indication of if the financial statement was audited or not.
Okay.
Did you get my question, sir?
Hello? What did you say?
There was no indication for an assumption the financial statement itself was audited.
Okay, that can come as skepticism. That's fine. Yeah, that can come under your skepticism. Any other question?
Okay, and nothing added to add something
Okay.
about the finance. The finance cost, looking at the finance,
If we
what's the
look at the
Hello?
can you
Okay, go on. Someone was talking before you jumped in.
Okay, so I was saying that the finance cost itself, the finance cost is very, very high if you compare it to the profits that the company is actually making. In fact, I think the finance costs are even more than the profit. So it shows that the company relies heavily on debt, right? They rely heavily on debt capital. Yeah. So.
Okay, maybe for us to decide on that, we might have to look at their ratio, maybe the ratio of debt to their equity. That may give us an idea of how geared they are, right? Okay, well,
Okay,
that's a very
sir.
good observation.
For their borrowing over the years is reducing, but then the reduction is not reflecting in their finance costs, because when you look at how their borrowing is reducing over the years, it's not in tandem with their finance costs.
You mean their borrowing is reducing?
Yeah, the long-term
sure?
borrowing over the years, but it's increased back in, I think that will be bank overdraft, but their normal long-term borrowing.
So their long-term borrowing was 13.1 million in 2020, rose to 15.4 million in 2021, and 16.1 million in 2022. So I think it grew sharply from 2020, but it's rather fluctuating later. It's not stable, it's not growing, but we can say it's fluctuating. Okay. But it has grew rapidly from 2020. So, but you said it's reducing.
There's still another borrowing is that current liability. So
what is
that? The borrowings is actually increasing. The one under current liability. So it's also affecting the finance cost because your pay is also increasing.
So that may explain why the finance cost is what it is, right? Because they have borrowing, and their borrowing is increasing. So I think it justifies their finance cost already. Okay. Any other contribution?
One observation, when we look at their assets, the assets don't seem to be growing in proportion when compared to their liabilities, like their borrowing, for example. And it doesn't seem as if they're fully leveraging on the power of their assets. It seems that they are leveraging more on the power of their liabilities.
Well, I didn't get that. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that if they are running the organization more through borrowing, they are running the organization more through borrowing, more through short and long term liability. When you look at their current but when you look at their assets, you see that their assets are not necessarily growing that much. For example, if you look at their inventory is considerably quite low. And if you look at their property, plant, and equipment, you can see that it grew just a little bit. It even dropped in 2021, which shows that there must have been disposal. Then it increased in 2022, meaning that they added new assets. Their goodwill did not grow, stays static. Their intangible assets, so it just doesn't look like they are doing so much with the asset space, in my opinion.
Okay, fine. What we can do later on is to look at their common size statement. Maybe that can inform us how they have been able to finance the assets, right? That will inform us if their balance sheet is actually balanced, if they are financing their assets in the proper way or not. So if there is no other, so we can look at that later. So if there's no other comments on the financial statement, can we move on to the next exhibit? Or Mr. Ali, do you have any comments on the exhibit 5?
I have a question on this financial statement.
You have a question? Okay, go on with the question.
Okay, my question is, we can see that they are investing in non-current assets, PP, and the investment is quite big. So I want to know if there's any 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 negativity from investing so much PP. That's one. And second, if you look at their goodwill over the it's constant. And from my knowledge, I think the goodwill should be tested for impairment every, but yeah, the goodwill is constant. Is there something we can look that can be wrong with? Thank you.
Please, can you come again on your question 1?
My question 1 is there any wrong person investing so much in PP? If you look at their statement, the PP and that's where we have so much investment in. We have so much investment in PP compared to any other.
So is it wrong if they are investing in PPE?
So yeah.
No, it's not
That's
wrong now.
one.
The business is capital intensive, so you should expect they have huge capital investment in their assets.
Okay, that's one. And second,
understandable.
The goodwill, if you notice from 2020 to 2020, the goodwill has been
constant.
I mean, that has been the same figure from 2020 to 2020.
Okay.
And I believe goodwill should be tested for impairment on a yearly basis.
Impairment, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, it has been constant. So is there anything we got to look at going forward?
Hello, I can't hear you again. No. Since the network is bad, I cannot hear you. I'm lost.
So he's saying that the goodwill appears to be constant. That it appears that they've not been testing the goodwill for impairments over the years. Maybe that's why it has been constant. So my own comment will be that, so you can look out for information if they've not been testing that. That can become part of your skeptical issue. Why they've not been testing the impairment the goodwill for impairment every year. That can be that. So let me leave my Oga to make comments on the financial statement too. Mr. Ali, you have anything to say on it? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Mr. Ali? Hello, go on. You have a question.
Hello. The network is bad.
Can I say something, sir?
Okay, go on.
Yes, sir. Okay, there's something I noticed on that is still on the statement of financial position. Because if you check under that, you will see dividend payable. Normally, these people have a lot of retained earnings here. And there was dividend payable in 2020. And there was none in 2021 and 2022. And if you check there was no provision of payable here. And if you check in the income statement, there was no indication of dividend paid in in the statement and the income statement, which would have shown if they did not pay, there would have been indication that it's still payable. They are still owing the shareholders. They've not paid during the year at all, and it was not stated in the account.
Hello, Mr. Ali. Can you hear me? Oh, excuse me, please. I can't hear you clearly. It seems your network is very bad. Hello? Okay. While we are still waiting for Mr. Ali to make his own contribution on the financial statement, is there any other question, please, so that we can move to the next exhibit, the last exhibit? No other contribution. Okay. Let's move to the last exhibit. Can someone read for us, please?
Question.
You just have question. Okay, go on.
But it's from exhibit 4. I was thinking about what implications or what significance the listed names might have. So I was just pondering, could they come from any angle where we are meant to, talk about the fact that some members of the board of directors are members of the management? Could we be required to say anything concerning that fact?
I'm not sure they will ask you to say anything concerning the board members. I'm not sure they will go that low.
Okay.
Yes. Any other question, please? Let's move to exhibit number 6, the last exhibit. Exhibit number 6. Can someone read for us, please, while we wait for Mr. Ali? Mr. Ali, are you back? Someone should help us and read so while we wait for him. I would like him to make comments on this exhibit too. I'm waiting. Someone should read. Please, I don't have the strength to read.
Research shows that two major drivers of competition and profitability in the hotel sector today are sustainable business practices and application of technology. I don't know what you just did. I'm not seeing the screen anymore. Sorry, I'm no longer seeing the screen. Okay. In fact, in today's global business environment, companies that fail to take sustainability initiatives seriously run the risk of going out of business because of rising customer awareness. Customer behavior is shifting too, as institutional investors increasingly favor sustainable business practices and governments offer incentives and tax benefits for going green. Historically, the hotel sector has had some negative impact on the environment in ways such as impact of water and energy consumption and the heavy use of materials that produce solid and hazardous waste. Hotels consume a high level of energy for heating, ventilation, and air cooling operations, lighting, and other power needs. Therefore, many hotels have taken sustainability issues very seriously and are now going. Also, hotels are developing strategies to reduce greenhouse emissions and waste. With developments in technology, hotels are using the following innovative strategies in their sustainable business practices. A, automation for conservation of water and energy. These days, Many hotels have automatic faucets installed in the public spaces and restrooms. These faucets are equipped with sensors that dispense water only in the presence of a user's hand. This is one of the convenient methods to save water because of regular inflow of guests. In fact, using these motion sensing faucets at hotels can save water use drastically. D. Magnetic card facilities. These key cards act as connectors to complete the circuit and allow the flow of electricity. The moment these cards are taken off their slot in the room, the circuit is broken, resulting in power cutoff. It is one of the popular eco-friendly amenities used in hotels to save electricity. C. Green energy. Many hotels have invested in solar heaters, biofuels, CHP, combined heating and power, wind farms, and geothermal energy. Solar power is one of the best ways to harness and store energy for use as an alternative source of electricity. D. Implementation of the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce, recycle, and reuse. One of the important ways to create an eco-friendly environment is by using the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Reduce, this is the reduction of the amount of waste generated in hotels. It is better to avoid using materials that are unfriendly to the environment. Recycle, this is not limited to plastic or glass. Various things such as fused bulbs, cans, cartons, and cartridges can be recycled. Waste treatment is another alternative for materials that cannot be recycled. Reuse, paper, toner cartridges, or linen, if the room has the same guest staying for a couple of days, can be reused. Apart from these innovative ways being used as sustainable practices, developments in technology have further led to innovative ways of enhancing hotel operations. Innovation in the hotel industry is important because it has the capacity to transform it positively. 2 of these developments as adopted from research work are: A. Chatbot, in-person customer service for hospitality industry using AI. AI robots adopted by some hotels and provide guests with information that they need when they interact with them. These robots are designed to learn and adapt to human beings. So the more it interacts with people, the more effective it will be in the future. There are a lot of robots operating in the hotel sector already. They add value to the industry by supporting human interaction, especially for services during odd times and services that require lifting of weight or automation. Chatbots have been extremely useful when it comes to responding to customer complaints online, as well as chat services that deal with simple customer requests. Chatbots can engage customers at any point of the day, and this kind of response time is invaluable to customers. These would add immense value to customer support in the hotel sector, which has quite a few routine queries. Indeed, AI has the potential to redefine the hotel business. D. Keyless entry, smartphone operated rooms. With free companion apps in the market, it is now possible to control hotel room remotely through phone or tablet to turn on the TV, browse, and order food, and so on. It is one of the best hospitality technologies that have already been in operation in many hotels now. Is that all? I think that's it.
Yes, that's it. That's all. Any comments from the class? Mr. Ali, are you back? Mr. Ali, are you back?
Can you hear me? I've been
Yes,
having
yes.
issue of network. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you now. I think others can hear you too.
Glory be to God, oh man. This network is in fact. Now wow.
Hello?
Okay, we all stay away now, sir.
I want you to summarize Exhibit 6 so that we can quickly move to anything we can do on the financial statement, maybe ratios and all that.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, please help us to summarize that exhibit number 6, that last exhibit. Help us to summarize it so that we can move to
Okay,
something
exhibit
else.
number 6. Yes, sir. Has it been read to?
Yes.
Okay. Our exhibit 6. Let me quickly address that. Exhibit 6. The exhibit number 6 talks about hospitality business. And that hospitality business in caption, I think the focus there is it dwell more on sustainability and innovation. Yes, sustainability and innovation. So what that that exhibit number 6 is talking about now, it has in recent time, particularly in the tourism and the hospitality business, there is a quest for adoption of technology and innovation to drive the industry to meet with global standards. And this will help in creating a favorable customer satisfaction and post-purchase experience. Because hospitality business, for what it is known for, should be able to give a kind of positive returns to the investors, despite the fact that huge amount of capital is required to run this business. So recently, the government policy and the global demand for sustainable ecosystem has changed the orientation of the consumers, the local and international customers that patronize hotel, in that everybody is now looking for safety. So when we are talking of that safety, the safety can be derived from minimization of pollution. The safety can be derived from reduction of eco emission and adoption of green manufacturing or green service delivery. And this safety can be derived by integration of technology into business operational activities of the company. And to achieve this, there is a increasing demand, accelerated demand for safe hotel business practices. And to achieve this, governments are give a lot of relief and support in time of tax incentives. Governments have ensured support in the area of innovation. So they are now expecting all companies to leverage on this for them to be able to achieve sustainable green tourism and hotel business. So what are the sustainable green practices that most of the hotels are doing in response to the increasing environmental sustainability demand? So what most companies have decided to do is to invest hugely on all the technology driving and energy sourcing that we are provided in the SCB6. So all these investments improve their service delivery, provide what we call consonance, that is favorable satisfaction to the customers. It made the customers' experience to be remarkable And this one brings about a lot of referral customers loyalty. So most of the things that the companies do, including their travels in the area of technology, is one, the use of motion sensor technology. You discover that in the SCB6 scenario, we are informed that to reduce total expenses on water supply and particularly wastages of water. So the companies have invested hugely on motion sensor facet or so. That doesn't have what we call, it has been programmed. Not until when the sensor pick the picture of your hand as a customer or user, water will not dispense. So this one helps to reduce wastages of water in the public spaces and the restroom. It's a very good idea to conserve water, to minimize wastages of water and cost on the operating expenses on water supply. Two, there is a usage of magnetic key cards. The magnetic key cards will help us to minimize unnecessary overhead expenses on electricity bill and consumption. But once the magnetic key card is not in contact or has been taken off, then automatically the electricity supply in that room will be cut off. This one minimizes electricity costs. And again, there's an adoption in solar power, such as solar heater and biofuel. This one too brings about conservation of energy and reduction of electricity costs. It even serves as an alternative source of electricity. So there will be any undue reliance on electricity supply from the government, which is not stable. And we discover again that companies, including privates, they are implementing the 3 R's. The 3 R's of environmental sustainability and lean manufacturing. So the 3 R's they are using is reduce, recycle, and reuse. That means they are trying to minimize the rate of waste resources, particularly on the part of the staffs. So that is one out of the 3 R's: reduce, waste reduction, recycle. So the company have took the initiative to invest heavily on some recycle machines that can recycle all these waste materials. So when all these waste materials are recycled or reprocessed, so they bring alternative products that the company can use. So once they have been recycled, they can be reused, so I'll probably resell at a cost. So at the same time, we discover that operating companies in the hospitality and hotel business, they carry out intensive research and development and invest in the use of AI, that is artificial intelligence, specifically in the case we are in form of the chat bots. So the chat bots will assist us in minimizing customers' complaints. It will assist us in bringing about improved customer service. It will assist the company in increasing the customer's engagement, particularly when they are seeking for information, making complaints or making inquiry. So AI will bring about a proactive and proficiency in the operating efficiency and service delivery of the company in the hospitality industry. So it is advisable our companies invest hugely in the AI and the use of robotic services. So the use of robots too will bring about the human interaction. The use of robots too will bring about a full automation of the company, and it will reduce operational costs. And then it brings about improved customers' confidence in the company. And this will enhance the patronage, referral, and loyalty. And it will bring about total restructuring of the perceptions about the hospitality industry in Nigeria and the global context. So companies are advised to emulate the investment in technology like AIs and robots and the rest. That notwithstanding, it was emphatically stated in SCB 6 that investment in keyless entries. So you and I, we have experienced that one way or the other, we have blogged, we have seen how this one is being used, that the investment in keyless entries, either by smartphone and other devices, will boost customer satisfaction and experience, and it will guarantee to some extent safety and security. So when all this can be done by Travis and other operating companies in the industry, it will bring about a lot of improvements, which will be beneficial to the customers, the company itself, because they will gain more competitive advantage. And then at the same time, it will bring about brand recognitions and the rest. So what SCB6 is all about, in summary, is talking about the investment in innovation, sustainability, energy conservation, and what the company can do to create long-lasting, favorable satisfaction to the customers, to build mutually benefiting relationship with the customers, to gain referral, brand identity. Now, what you can do is for company to invest in sustainable practices, technological innovation, and then invest more on energy savings operation of business. And it is being advisable that most companies that use AI, robots, and what have you, introduce their cross and bring about operational efficiency and customer satisfaction. So that is the basic things that the exhibit number 6 talks about. So the only thing that was more or less omitted, or the ICAN was silenced in the pre-scene under the exhibit 6. I was trying to read. I've read over, but there's no area where they discuss holistically about the ethical challenges and its negative impact or positive impact on the company. So we should expect this probably in the exam, in the same question. They might discuss about the ethical challenges, because there's no way the hotel business, no matter the amount of money invested in innovations and the energy conservation, that we are not going to have what we call environmental and water pollution to some extent, the possibility of toxic waste pollution that can endanger the life of the host community and what have you. The high power consumption, this was mentioned somewhere, the high power consumption. So the ethical challenge facing the company and the associated risks, we should expect this in the exam. So thank you. That's just the summary of what we have in SCB 6. And I know we are going to have more information on this SCB 6 because to me it's a little bit shallow. And that's the direction where the trend is growing globally now, sustainability and innovation. So the adoption rate in African developing nation, including Nigeria, is still at the lower ebb, extremely low. But in the global context, it's very high. So gradually we get there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir, for the contribution. Thank you so much. You have done fantastically tonight. God bless you, sir. I don't know if you have any question from the student. Any question? Do we have any question? Hello?
Yes. A question from me, just thinking, especially based on the fact that we've not seen the rest of the question. But based on this last exhibit, do you think it could also be maybe an indication of what kind of what the requirement too might end up being? Maybe it might be that it might be maybe an investment appraisal. Maybe they are trying to invest in an innovative solution or an energy saving solution, and maybe we now do maybe calculate the net present value or something like that. That's just my thoughts. If that exhibit might also be pointing at something more. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Your thoughts are valid, right? The reason why I said that they are valid is I'm also thinking in the same direction. Unfortunately for us all, we are not part of the examination board, and we cannot know the mind of the examiners. So it's just left for us to expect, to also, yes, to expect what they could come out with. Because as it is now, it seems Travex is not already there in terms of investments in this technology. It seems they are not there now, right? So possibly maybe in the unseen, you might be given information around that area. Maybe they want to invest and all that. So that may lead to investment appraiser. They may also go in the direction of, okay, maybe there's a need to use a model, maybe to analyze the competition in that industry, or to analyze the environment in which Travex operates in. So these are possibilities, right? These are possible. So what you should do is just keep your you are aware now. All this exhibit that we have gone through now, I'm sure it will save you a lot of reading time, and it will also help you to understand the unseen part very well. You won't have to struggle to understand the unseen. Okay, so that is what I can say about that. So before we leave tonight, let's quickly look at some of the possible things that we might do in the financial statement analysis aspects of the exam. So what I've done here is I computed a kind of trend analysis. So I forecasted 2023. If you look at this place, you see this is kind of 2023 year. So it's just me trying to come up with something. And in some of the materials I will send, I created a kind of unseen that you can play around with. You can play around the unseen. So this 2023 is in that unseen. So I just try to put it so that we can have something to play with. Okay. So this is the trend analysis. This is what the trend analysis looks like. The trend analysis of Travex. So you can see the absolute change here, the absolute as well as the percentage change. This is between 2020 and 2021. The absolute change and the percentage change between 2021 and 2022, and between 2022 and 2023. So what we can see is that there is about 129% change in what? In revenue between 2020 and 2029. Well, that is understandable because in that 2020, due to the impact of the COVID-19, the revenue was so low in that year, right? It was so low in that year. So that is the reason for the 129% change in revenue growth. And you see that between 2021 and 2022, we just have 45% percentage change in revenue growth, but it declined. The rate of growth declined between 2022 and 2023. So we cannot judge with this 2022 and 2023 because we don't have the actual 2023 result. This is not the actual 2023 result. So we may not be serious with that. Okay. And for the cost of sales, you can see that the cost of sales too grew by 60% between 2020 and 2021, and by 58% between 2021 and 2022. So we can also judge very well with the 2022-2023. Unfortunately, it's there already. All right. We can see the gross profit too. The gross profit 174% growth rate. between 2020. So these are more like the impact of the COVID-19. That's what we are seeing here. The impact of the COVID-19 is giving us all this 100 and something percentage growth in all of these areas. So this is what the trend analysis will likely look like. So my own is that trend analysis is largely dependent on what is required. If you are not required to do trend, please don't. There's no need to waste your time. I think we've discussed this in the class. You have to be sure the requirement is asking you to compute trend analysis. You have to be sure. So you have to be very, 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 very sure for you to go into that. So it's very simple, and I'm sure you know how we make our reports on trends. You know, the revenue grew by maybe increased by 12.2 million between 2020 and 2021 by 129%. Okay, you know, then you continue like that. So we are aware of that. So this is the trend analysis. So one other thing I like to look at before any other thing that can help us to make sense of financial statement is to look at the vertical statement. The vertical statement of the account. I love to look at it because it will give us an S-tray of the company performance. It will give us a kind of S-tray of the company performance. This should be like 2023. This should be like 2023. Okay. So this is the common size account of the profit or loss account. This is the common size statement of profit or loss account. And like you all know, the common size is we are converting each of the items here as on the profit or loss account as a percentage of revenue. So what you see is that the revenue will be 100%. Now you will see, if you look at the cost of sales in 2020, for instance, is 40%. So it means that for every 100 naira revenue made in 2020, for every 100 naira revenue made in 2020, 40 naira was spent on direct expenses. 40 naira was spent on direct expenses. Okay. Which, that's why we have 60 naira left. It means that's why we have 60 naira of gross profits left. Well, we can say that shows how well they manage their costs. If they can manage it to the extent that it's only 40% that they spent on direct expenses, right? And gross profit is 60 naira of every 100 naira made, which means they have so much they can use to cover up other operating expenses. So other operating income was just 11%, and impairment, well, that's that. But what you notice is that operating expenses is, for every 100 naira they make as revenue, they are spending 108 naira on what? On operating expenses. The company is spent 108 naira on operating expenses. You can see that, in fact, they had to borrow more to spend on. So it means they must have been spending from their reserves, right? They are spending from their reserves. Okay, so that was why they made the loss in that 2020, because they had to they spent so much on operating expenses. That was why they made that loss. And their finance cost too was 56%. So for every 100 naira they made, for the 100 naira they made in 2020, they spent 56 naira on finance expenses. Okay. So that was basically the reason why they made that loss. Their operating expenses was over and above the revenue they even made, including their finance cost. Now, in 2020, they were able to manage their direct cost they were able to reduce it down from 40% down to what? To 28%. To 28%. So they must have taken certain steps, maybe cut down on certain direct expenses, So that's good management of direct cost, right? So they had 72 naira of what? Of remained to cover for other, expenses. And again, in that 2021, they were now able to manage more their operating expenses they brought it down to 52%. They brought it down to 52%. So for every 100 naira, instead of spending 108 naira now, they spent 52 naira on operating expenses. That's good. So they are managing their expenses, right? They also manage they will also be able to manage their finance cost. They're able to manage their finance cost, and that is why they're able to achieve profit, a reasonable profit. That's why they are able to come back to profit in 2021. In 2022, their direct costs grew back to 31 naira, 31%. Okay, and their operating expenses, they further reduced it to 46%, from 108 to 52 to 46, and their finance cost was reduced again to 13%. So we can see how well they have been doing in terms of financial performance. So what I can see here is that the COVID-19 really dealt with them in 2020, but despite the fact that it did that, they were able to manage their direct cost to just 40%. But unfortunately for them, maybe not really. Although I didn't think they made so much more revenue in that 2020, they may have covered for that revenue may have covered for the operating expenses. So, but because of the impact of the COVID-19, the revenue was not much, and the operating expenses was the actual reason. The actual reason, operating expenses with the finance cost was the actual reason they made loss in 2020. So maybe not, we can see it's not really because of the, what do you call it? Because of the COVID-19, though it has its own impact. But in being, they are able to see now in 2021. So if they spent 52 naira in 2020, you see that they still have about 8 naira to cover other, although they will still make loss because their finance cost is still there, but they will have 8 naira left, not loss. But I hope you get what I'm saying. So the operating expenses and the finance cost played huge impact in the loss they made in what do you call it, in 2020. So in 2021 and 2022, you're able to manage their operating expenses and finance cost more better. Okay, so that's why they are back in profit days. Okay, now let's look at their financial position. If you look at their financial position, this is the history of their financial position. There are two things that made up the financial position: the balance sheet That's why we call it balance sheet. The assets of the balance sheet must be equal to the value of the assets on the balance sheet must be equal to the capital. Okay, but most of the times, if the capital are not enough, the owners can borrow money, so liability. So assets must be equal to capital plus liability. So you see that at the top on the assets, we have 100% of the asset, and on the equity and liabilities, we have 100%. So if you look at the assets consist of mostly of what? Of non-current assets, including building and all that. Mostly they invested in building, right? And the current asset is just very little, not even up to 10% of the total asset. So they really invested in non-current assets. So the question is, how were they able to finance it? How were they able to finance it? So the financing aspect is the equity and liability. So over 50% was from equity financing. So that's a good thing. So over 50% was from equity financing, and the rest was from liabilities, both current and non-current. So as it is now, it seems that they have a well-balanced balance sheet. It is not the balance sheet is well balanced because they are not financing their assets with so much liability. It's balanced. So the financing is balanced. So we can say they have LD. From my own perspective, the balance sheet is kind of LD, right? It's very LD. Even if you look at the current assets to the current liability, even if you want to say that they are financing, how they finance the current asset, okay, how they finance the current assets, you can see that the current liability can equally finance the current assets, right? Which is okay, and the equity and the non-current liabilities can finance the non-current assets, which is very, very okay. So that's the history of the account. So we can look at some ratios too. So please, although I will share this material with you, but I would like you to sit down yourself and compute your ratios too, because the ratios is yours. You'll be the one to do it in the exam. Okay, this can serve as a benchmark that you can look at, but you should also compute these ratios yourself. Let me be sure I'm not just talking to myself. Okay, I see I have 41 participants online. I have some questions there. Sleeping is calling. Okay, so let's continue. So we
I have a
so
question.
Okay, go on.
Please, how do you when you're writing your the report, how do you explain the negative figures that you get from your ratio analysis? That's number one. Then number two, on the common size statement, if you notice for the income tax for 2020, it was a positive figure. So my assumption is that was loss relief because they made a loss. Correct?
For the what?
So for the income tax, if you see the income tax, it's a positive figure there. While for the other years, they are next. So my assumption is that was a loss because they made a loss.
I think that may be a relief. It may be a kind of relief. Because they are not going to pay tax when they are making loss. That's basic rule. Exactly. They will not pay tax. Yes.
Exactly. Okay, so for the negative ones, like if you look at the one That's on revenue for the financial ratios where you're having minus, where you're having. So my question is, when you're writing the feedback in the report, how do you explain that?
How do you explain what, please?
The negative figures. For example, if you go back to your ratio analysis, to the financial ratio analysis that you wanted to start discussing, if you see, for example, for return on capital employed for 2020 is -4. So what I'm asking is, like, when I'm writing it in the report now, and I'm saying, okay, the return on capital employed for the year 2020 was negative. Will I say -4%, or will I
It's
say
negative.
-4%?
You can say it's negative because it's not even positive. They did not even return anything. They did not return anything on the capital they employed. So it's just negative, and it's negative. It means the company is not efficient enough to even make profit that we show that they are efficient enough in utilizing the capital to make profit. So it is.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right.
I want to ask a question. More like an observation. It's a question.
Okay.
So, what's the vertical analysis that we did? Right. So, if you look at the current assets, okay, yeah. So I'm seeing current asset of 9%, right? So I don't know. And then the current liability is actually 27%. Okay, I'm looking at 2022. Okay, 2023. Let me look at the ones they've given us already. That's 2020, 2021, 2022. So for 2020, it is 4, current liability is 25. 2021, current assets is 8. Then it's 2022 for current, it's 22 for current liabilities. Then 8 in 2022 and 24 for current liabilities. Does it not speak to like liquidity issues? Because to me, it's looking their current not meet their current obligations. So the company may actually be experiencing some liquidity issues.
Issue. Yes, that is correct. That is in terms of the liquidity. But in terms of when we are looking at vertical analysis to x-ray their position, we are looking at, on one side, the assets. That was why I said the balance sheet has to be balanced. Assets must be equal to liability. And one other thing we look at is, if you are saying that assets is equal to liability, so how did you finance the asset is also important. So that they are not financing their non-current assets. We want to be sure that the company is not financing the non-current assets with current liability. So some other times you could see current liability so high, right? Which means that the current asset is being financed with what? With the current liability. That is a huge sign for liquidity problem and solvency risk, So that's what we are looking at. But in terms of ratio, of course, it's a sign of liquidity problem, because the current asset must be ×2 of current liability, so that at any point in time, when the provider of current liability comes, they must have enough assets to pay off the current liability. So that's on the part of the ratio. So these are more like the group of ratios that someone can just compute and look at. So what you can see from the ratio is the return on capital employed is actually improving from negative in 2020 to positive in 2022. Though we might say that, well, maybe this 14% may not be up to industry average, right? But in the real sense, there's a sign of improvement in how they are making good use of the capital invested in the business. And in terms of return to the owners of equity, we can see that there's also an improvement from not making any return in 2020 to 2% return in 2021 and 6% in 2022. So there's a sign of growth there. And for gross profit margin, it shows that the return they are making from after deducting what do you call it? After deducting direct cost, what is left is a bit okay, at least 60% in 2020. We should cover for other expenses. 72% in 2021 and 69% in 2022. It seems fair enough to me. It seems fair enough to me. Operating profit margin ratio, it's also improving, or maybe we say it's fluctuating. It was negative in 2021 and 2021 negative in 2020, 27% in 2021 and 31% in 2022. So these are the sort of profitability ratios that you can play with, right? You can play with it and see what you can come out of it. Then if you look at the activity or efficiency ratio, which can also help us to talk more on how well they are utilizing the working capital of the company. So if you look at the inventory holding days, used to be 56 days. On average in 2020, it took them 56 days to hold inventory, right? Which has improved over the years. 37%, 37 days in 2021 and 23 days in 2022. Now, the implication is that if they are holding inventory for so long, there are risks attached to that. One, the inventory there could be risk of depletion. There's risk of depletion. The inventory you are holding for so long may go bad, right? And that means they are losing money, right? That means they are losing money. Okay. So receivable days, on the other hand, 61 days in 2020, 44 days and 37 days in 2022. It means that before now, they've been finding it difficult to collect back money from the customers. But over the years, they have improved on it. They have improved on their collection, management of their collections, right? They have improved on it. And the payables, wow, the payables, it took them 1,885 days in 2020 to pay back suppliers. This is not good for business, because if you are holding the money of your suppliers for 1,088 days, that's not good at all. So the suppliers might withdraw the credit. They might stop giving you credit. And that credit is one of the sources of finance to complain. They might stop it. They might not give you credit again. But they have improved too over the years. And in 2022 now, they have so it's now again this another implication is that this is a kind of liquidity problem, right? It shows that because you are holding the working capital of the company is tied down on inventory, and receivables. So the inventory is there, is not being sold, there's no cash. The receivables they've sold, they are not collecting cash. That is why they are not being able to pay back the suppliers as at when they fall due. So it's a sign of liquidity problem. So the travelers might have liquidity challenge, right? They may have liquidity challenge for so many reasons. Okay. Now, if you look at their current ratio too, just like someone said the other time, their current asset is very, very low. So here we should be having two. So which shows that for every 1 naira current liabilities, there must be 2 naira current assets. But now the current liability is so much that the current asset cannot even cover one of it. So that's a sign of liquidity problem. It shows the company might have liquidity challenge. Okay, so for debt ratio, so the company is only 46% geared over the years, but it's increased to 48%. So it means that they have 48% liability in the to finance their what do you call it, total assets. So 46% of liability in financing the so I think they are moderately geared, because 50% and above shows that they are highly geared, but they are between they are very close to 50%, but I think for now they are moderately geared. So they may still be doing okay for now. But looking at their current ratio, which shows that they are fighting liquidity. So taking more loan might not be an option for the company. So what we can do is to look at their what do you call it? Their interest cover ratio. How many times can their profit before interest and tax cover their interest interest for the year? So in 2020, because they made loss, so they could not even cover the interest for the year. In 2021, they could cover interest for the year once. In 2022, they improved to twice. So this means that this confirms that they are moderately geared, and they may not be able to take on additional loan now, because once they do, they will not be able to pay back because of other factors that we have seen. So you can just take your time to play around the ratios and see what you can come off of the ratios. Okay, so we have really done we have really done so well tonight. So let me give you a few minutes. I don't know, Mr. Ali, do you have anything you want to add, please?
Ogami, you have said it all, and I really salute you. I appreciate your immense contribution and the history of the financial analysis of the company. And this one will really help the students and guide them towards landmark and success, which we are praying for in the forthcoming exam. So you have said it all, I'm with you. I don't know if the students have any question, contributions, or whatever. But I know with this, it will serve as a good guidance so that you'll be in the right path for the exam. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so much. Any question from the students?
Just one final question from me. I just wanted to clarify, because I observed that in the questions, I noticed a whole lot of decimal points, but I noticed that when you were solving it, you just kind of like rounded up. So is it better that in the report we put a caveat somewhere, maybe under our methodology or something, that the figures are rounded over to the next zero, or we just leave it and just solve like that?
Yes, you can put it that you have rounded off your figure. There's no problem. So it depends on who is writing. So my own way of writing, I hate decimal points. I don't like it in my writing. That's my own style,
Me too.
Yeah, so it depends on whoever is writing. So when you are writing, if you like decimal points, you can put it. If you don't like, you can say there that you are basing your points without decimal points and all that. So it's fine. Nobody will challenge you for that.
Thank you.
This is like two points. When we talk about the liquidity that these surface companies, Now we concluded that taking loan is not attractive. On the other hand, what can we advise for them to be able to stop their short-term obligation?
Please, I did not get that question clearly because it seems your network is kind of cracking up. I couldn't get the question clear.
Okay, so I'm saying now that they have a liquidity problem, and it's not advisable. It's not advisable to sort out the cost. They can't get loans to sort the liquidity problem. What can we advise them? What can we advise them to do? What can we advise? What advice can we give?
What can we advise them to do? Yes, because presently they have liquidity, kind of liquidity problem, and the best advice for them is that if they are, so possibly if they want to invest, it is possible they might want to invest later on, right? They might want to invest later on in ICT or maybe digital equipment to boost their hotels, right? So the loan is not an option to them. They can rather raise equity finance. They can rather raise more of equity finance so that they are not incurring more loan, which can compound their liquidity challenge. Okay, so that's the advice you can give them. They cannot take loan as it is. They are already, any loan that they take now will make them to be highly geared. It shoots above 50%, which becomes highly geared, which push them to liquidity risk, high liquidity risk. So that's the advice you can give them. They should raise finance by equity. Okay. Any other question, please?
Okay, so it's just when I was speaking the first time, especially when we brought out the debt, I mentioned that the company is actually over reliant on debt finance, right? So, and you said when we get to the ratio part, so looking at it, I think it was ratio of 1, that's debt to finance, so ratio of 1 to 1, because you did not, I think you rounded up, so I think when I calculated it, it was about maybe 90 something percent, right? So when you rounded it up to 1, that's 100%. So I don't know, is it correct if maybe in the reports we write that the company is actually over reliant on debt financing, and this also shows in their high finance costs, right? And that also has an effect on their bottom line, because it feels like the finance cost itself is more than the reported profits.
Yes, I think that is correct. That is correct. You can push that. Any other question? Any other question? Okay, so I want to say a very big thank you to each and every one of you who have participated in this November 2024 diet pricing analysis. You have all done fantastically well, right from the lectures to, and I'm sure you must have written 1 or 2 reports, though many of you did not submit to me. But I must tell you, it is very, very important that you practice in writing 1 or 2 reports before the exam. This is very, very, very important. So I can only wish you nothing but success. So for success, you have to know what you are doing. You have to stick to whatever plan you already have based on what you have done so far, right? You have to stick to it. You have to be confident in it. You cannot shake. You cannot see the question and start shaking. You are who you are. And one thing the case study will teach you is to to speak confidently as a chartered accountant. That's what most of you also are doing now. When you see us outside, we speak confidently. When we say this is wrong, it is wrong, we stay by it, right? And that is what you are going to show in the case study exam. You cannot shake. So you speak your voice. So far, you have your facts, you have your figures that can back those points you are making. So they are correct, they are valid, right? So you should speak it the way you see it. That's how simple it is. But make sure you are following the path you have practiced, the path we have discussed. Make sure you have something that will be guiding you in the exam. So because we have some other I wrote an incomplete report that can also serve as more guide, right? So what you will do is that I don't want to send it to the groups, right? So because some of our students, so I will be checking. So you have to chat me up on WhatsApp. I have our students on all our groups. So once you chat me up like this, then I can share the report with you and some other materials I have, so I can share with you. So that's what I will do, because we have some students who did not pay, who did not do those things. I can't. So we are not responsible for such students, because they did not pay, they did not register. So we are not responsible. So you just chat me up. I will share the reports and some other materials I have with me, and the unseen are prepared that you can play with. I will share it with you. So that is my closing remark. So be who you are in the exam. Just stick to what you have practiced with. That's very important. There's no need to shake. I've given you the steps. Mr. Ali has come to give you some other hints on models and all that. So let all these things be your guide, right? I've set the foundation. You know where the marks are hidden. You know everything the examiner, the assessors know by now. You already know too. So there's no need for you to panic. There's no need for you to check. So I wish you all the best in your coming exam. Mr. Ali, I don't know if you have any closing remark you want to make to the student before we end for tonight.
The only thing I want to say is to salute them for the courage, the commitment, the investment, and I pray that God will crown their efforts. And at the end of the day, by the time the results will come out, we are going to rejoice in equity, and everyone will come out in a flying color. And we are going to celebrate the new bread ACA in embryo. So as my elder scholar, my team lead have said it all, you need to be confident of what you are doing. Manage your time very well, because time management is part of the exam. And he has informed you, Dr. Lekon have informed you, whatever you have practiced to at least preempt yourself at the likely areas. If those things are not out, stick to what the examiner asks in order to save your time. You can see the extra of some of these ratio analysis that he has done. There's possibility that it's not all the ratios that is going to come out. The few ones that they ask is what you are going to concentrate. So you have to ensure you manage yourself, see the requirement, the examiner requirement before you answer any questions. Don't just preempt that, okay, Porter's diamond is coming, profitability ratio is coming, asset ratio is coming, gearing ratio is coming. No. So once you have done that, you practice, that practice will give you more confidence. And the more you have that confidence, the sky is the beginning. So the confidence matter, time management matter, and you have to ensure with what we have done tonight now. So take time out of no time, at least for maybe twice or thrice, to go through the case study on your own. Try to look at Exhibit 1, Exhibit 2 up to 6, do the likely preparation and what the guides that we are giving you to do personal preparation, solutions, and go through all these against you. So like what my guy have said to, we are being cautious of sending some of materials to the platform Because at this end, some people want to take advantage. They want to leverage on your own sweat, your sweat capital that you have used to register, do so many things. So this is the time they'll be looking for free material here and there. So whatever I have on the SCB, it's 1262, which I promise it will be fully edited. We look at the language, editing and the rest. So I will ask Mr. Lekon, so we see how you can have access to those materials and all the analysis that we have done on the models and the rest. So I wish you the very best of luck. Bless you all. So I appreciate your time, efforts, and resources.
All right. Thank you, sir. So thank you all. This brings us to the end of this diet officially and to the end of this class. So good night, everyone.